I'm a gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Bryson, why they mad? Cause I'm real and they be faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting, Bible reading, God believing, truth speaking, American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with. It's for free thinkers only. You ain't got no membership. They free General Flint out the cage, cause he innocent. Barton Roger Stone, cause the run know that he innocent. We need to kick out every single illegal immigrant. Mandatory voter ID laws we need to implement. Tell Justin Smollett that I know this MAGA country. Tell China we know they.
Good evening, everybody. I am so excited. I think this is the first XJW Political Corner episode since the new year. Am I right? I can't remember, but I think it is. So happy new year to everyone in the chat, everybody who's watching. Let me know if you guys are here. Say hi in the chat and I will say hello in a few seconds. So we did the New Year's Apostathon stream that Jesse wanted us to do, and we did it. We got it done. We spent New Year's together. We had so much fun. We watched the fireworks, we did the countdown, we did everything. We did movie trailers. I loved it. And I want to thank you guys for all of those movie suggestions, because we do have like movie nights on our Discord server, the XJW Friends server. So if you are already on that server, I usually do movie nights and I be watching it back to back. Like I do like 3 movies a night. So if you want to come have fun with us there, let me know. I will put the link for everybody. And I also created another server on Discord for this show only, like specifically just politics. So if you want that link, it is in the description and you can join my server. And that's where we kind of talk about politics in a way that you can't really do on YouTube, because I'm already on probation. So it's a little bit more free, more open. We can talk about politics on there. And so, yeah, if you want to join that server, the link is in the description. And I'm going to say hello to you guys now. John Marciano, happy Tuesday. Hi, everyone. Ruby in the panel. Also, the link is pinned to the top if anybody wants to join me. I'm trying to kill some time so that King Tony can join me. I want her to join. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. She says, hi, Ruby. Hi, everyone. Leonard Smith, happy new year. Yeah, happy new year, guys. 2025, man. I've been so nervous for this year to start, especially happy J6 anniversary. And I couldn't believe how it's been 4 years since the insurrection that happened on J6. And that was like the anniversary for it. Everybody was sharing pictures and, videos and stuff like that. And it brought back all those feelings like, oh my God, I remember when watching J6, on the TV, the news, when the MAGA Million protesting happened and all of my Twitter mutuals were going to the Capitol. And it was like, it gave me all those feelings again. And I'm so happy to know people that have been there on J6. We talk about it all the time with Jimmy. He always talks about his experience there. And just looking back on everything, I'm so glad that I took the word of people who were talking about J6, like Jimmy Bell on his own YouTube channel. You can look at his channel. He talks about it since years ago, what happened on that day. And I'm so glad that I took his word for it, and all of my other Twitter mutuals that were at the Capitol on that day. I take the word of people over everything and anything. And I'm so glad that I do that, because I was so appreciative. Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. It was a great day. I'm so glad you didn't get arrested. Because it's just stupid. You know what I mean? Like, looking back at it all, I remember having that fear, which is what we talk about all the time, how the news fear mongers and wants us to be afraid, as if there was a real insurrection happening in the United States of America, which in my mind, I wouldn't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that gullible. You know what? Let me not say nothing, because I was just about to say maybe I'm not that gullible, but at the same time, okay, just cut me a little slack. Sometimes I am retarded, but usually I would doubt that would happen in a country like us. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I even doubt that the people can actually overthrow the government, as how the Constitution was intended for us to, not overthrow, but you know what I mean, like not to let the government be like a tyrannical government. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. But like, yeah, I kind of doubt that even the people would do that, because everybody is so lazy, and Americans are just not the same Americans as we used to be. You know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. Leonard says that was just crazy. Yes, if we are talking about the same J6. Okay, what you mean saying J6? Everybody knows that J6 was the insurrection that supposedly happened on January 6th, 2020? And that was 4 years ago. I still can't believe that it was 4 years ago, because the other day I was trying to make a joke like, "Oh, happy first or second year anniversary of J6." And my husband was like, "First year, second year? Are you okay in the head? That was like 4 years ago." And you see how fast information can come and go, and we don't feel the time passing as it does. And I think that's because we're so like overloaded and overwhelmed with everything happening that we don't even realize how many years have passed since something happened in the news, because they always like slap you with something else and something else and something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are on overload with information. And I didn't even realize that it's been over almost 4 years. Jimmy says, if you were there, you would understand why I said it was a great day. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, I would never experience that. And I don't think I ever will, because even though I want to, I just wouldn't go. Maybe if I didn't have kids, then I probably would, and I would be all up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be even more crazier than I am right now. But it's kind of like I keep myself leveled and I self-censor, and I kind of hate that. I don't like self-censoring, but you got to do it when you have a family, and I get it. I understand it, because, can't really go too deep. John Marciano says, "Hi, Jimmy." Del Rey, oh, Jimmy, do I need to come on and talk about J6? I mean, if you want to, you were there. So if you want to, we can do that, because I put on the title there like Jimmy Carter, Las Vegas, the Greenland Purchase, and more. So that and more part is what we're gonna be talking in between those big subjects, because I gotta ask Jimmy about Jimmy Carter. I mean, people say that, oh, he died more than once or something like that. And you already know, we talk about theories all the time on this channel, and people believe that either they are being played by a body double, or that they really did die in the past, rather than what the media is trying to make it look like he died recently. You know what I'm saying? Like, fake news has me like tired already. Del Rio says, "Hola, good evening, hello." It's because of social media. That's another thing. Yeah. And I rarely don't like, I only use X really for all of the news stuff, and I usually do it for here. But every other social media, I don't use it like that, because that's how overwhelmed you can get following everybody else's life, trying to like keep up. So yeah, I get you. Leonard says, "I'm thinking about something else in my mind that's totally different." Oh, okay. No, yeah. J6, like insurrection J6. Happy anniversary, because I was yesterday. And I don't know how the news was playing it out, because you already know they talk about J6 in a very one-sided way, as if it really was an insurrection. I think Americans are so like privileged that we don't understand what a real insurrection is, what a real coup is, real war, because we don't experience those things in America like other countries do. So that's why when I say things like we're lazy or probably too privileged to understand those hardships, and yet we call that an insurrection. Meanwhile, you can actually look at a real insurrection and compare it, and it's nothing as what we saw on J6 2020. That's what I mean by that. Also, when I say things like America's too free, it's like along the same lines. It's like sometimes I think that we're too free, because you'd be seeing crazy things going on, and I'm like, yeah, that's freedom. That's freedom for you, right? I don't know. I don't know if freedom is always good. I don't know. John Marciano says, "Go, Jimmy." Hey, John and everyone else. Jimmy says, "All J6 was the cover up for the real insurrection that took place on November 3rd, 2020. You see what I'm saying? That's a good point. I'm not gonna even say nothing because I'm still on probation, so I'm not gonna even talk about the that election. Ruby, can't hear you. You can't hear me. Okay, it's definitely on. Okay, let me know if you could hear me. Okay, guys, let me know in the chat if you can hear me because everything is on. So the real love says, I say the same thing. We are spoiled. Yeah. But even with even the life we live as Americans, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I think that we are superior. Like we are in a pink world compared to the world. You know what I'm saying? Like the struggles that we think we be having is nothing compared to the rest of the world. So I always think about those things when I'm thinking about how the news is trying to project a tragedy or, trying to give you an opinion of how you should feel about something. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing that I can think of that would I would not have that type of opinion is when there's like a real terrorist attack. Like the one we saw was in New Orleans, that one terrorism, or Las Vegas terrorism, or 9/11 terrorism, whether or not you want to believe it's a psyop or distraction, whatever, it's still terrorism at the end of the day. People still died. So aside from that I would take as serious, like, yeah, we should be feeling, the way the media is showing, then okay. But then when they did the whole J6, even though people did die, it was just weird. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, it makes you think. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't think it was a big enough psyops for people to actually believe that it was a real insurrection. I don't know. That's just my opinion. All right. Don't drag me. That's just my opinion. J-Man United. Hey Jimmy. Hey Ruby. Hi. Yes. JG. Good evening, everyone. The real love says I agree with Jimmy. Yeah. Hey Jay. Jay says the insurrectionists didn't bring any guns to the insurrection, so it's not an insurrection. Exactly. You see, that's one of the major things. And not only that, but it is a major component, right? But not only that, what really got me was that most, like 90% of my Twitter, back then it was Twitter, mutuals were at that event and they're calling them insurrectionists. I'm like, I've been following these people for years, and no, I would never think of them like that. Like what they're trying to paint it up as. It was just wrong, because I was like, no, these are regular people who were protesting that election. Stop calling them something that they're not. You know what I'm saying? And this community knows about that, right? Calling somebody that they're not, because we used to take it personal when they would call us like apostates and stuff like that. That was the same kind of feeling I had. Like, don't call them that. Like I was getting like really defensive with like name calling because I guess that's just, the way we were raised. Like, you don't say something like that. Like, it's serious. You know what I'm saying? But the way the media and people be throwing it around, calling people things, that's where, that comes from me. Like, no, I've been following these people for a long time, been following their posts. Nothing of that nature would have led me to believe that these are people who were doing that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just trusted my gut more than what the news was saying. And that's what we need to do with this fake news. We need to trust the word of people, like I said earlier, who were there. Okay, let's talk to the person. If you have any questions, talk to the person who was there. And we already know one person in our community that was there. So, send Jimmy Bell an email if you really want to know, or go to his channel and see what he said that day from that video 4 years ago that he posted. Like, I remember watching that. So that's the only advice that I would give people, is to actually talk to the people who were there. Don't be watching the news and just believing whatever the news tells you. The real love says you sound better. Okay, good. Very good. Jimmy says, and not one person has been charged with an insurrection. Another good point. Another good point. And yet, those people who were thrown in prison for whatever they wanted to throw, like they wanted to throw the book at them, what happened to them? If you really want to look into it, what happened to those people? Well, most of them, their lives were ruined because they got arrested, right? They lost their job, they lost their family. And in some cases, they committed suicide because of that. And I just know this from like when I looked into it back then. I mean, I don't know their names or like, their family or anything like that. But that's what I know of some of the people that they arrested, ruined their lives. Some of them committed suicide. And it's sad because they put a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I always talk about that. And that's why I hate suicide, because I'm like, if they would have just waited a little longer, or if they would have just trusted maybe God a little bit more, or maybe trusted the system, that at least they would get justice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel bad for people who don't see any way out. And look, if they would have waited 4 years, okay, and I know that I would never understand what that feels like. I've never been in jail before. I've never experienced that extremism. 4 years later, Trump won the election. He should, and he will, hopefully he will give a blanket pardon to the J6ers. And that's just my opinion, but that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm like? If they would have just waited it out, like, damn, I kind of hate that, that it's just sad, it's just sad all around. And that's why I don't like when people are like politically persecuted like that. John Marciano says, notes on January 14th, the left is planning to stage protests at DC, according to some tweets. Really? Oh, and did you see that when the certification happened, that Vance came out with a huge, like, there was cops, Secret Service, and then him, like they were all exiting the building like that. Like, it's getting real out here. Jimmy says, okay, I'll be on in a few. Y'all can ask me questions if Ruby is cool with it. Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, if anybody does have questions, you can ask a J6. You can ask him. It's called political prisoners. Yeah, exactly. Political prisoners. And I hate when they do stuff like that, because I mean, that's what we are for, in my opinion. Like, the people should be the ones protesting on their behalf. You know what I mean? Like, we never should have stopped talking about them. They should have never, stopped raising money for them. They should have, stuck by their family's side, like, be like a real community. And unfortunately, we don't have that. And this is why I like my Orthodox community, is because it is a real community. You know what I mean? Like, I've been really searching for a real community that has unconditional love. And as the people of this country, we should have had that unconditional love for these people that were protesting their rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. I think they were egged on. I think that it was entrapment. I think it was a setup. You know what I'm saying? Like, without getting into too many details, I feel sad because I felt like it was a setup. And if they just would have waited for Trump to get into office, or just, depended on, their family, like real people, they would have survived this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can always survive anything, and we should have that strength, but some people don't have it, and I'm sorry. John C. Mitchell Jr. Hey, had to reboot. Okay, well, hopefully you can join us. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about tonight, and I do have like 5 tabs open, because I am going to be showing some clips, some videos that I wanted to show before, and I can't remember, what did I talk about last Tuesday? Oh, okay, I think I remember now. Okay, I was talking about some other stuff, because I was like, why didn't I cover this? And I have to check like my bookmarks on Twitter so that I can keep track of what I'm talking about, because it's a lot of things that I see on X that I save, and I'm like, okay, next Tuesday I want to talk about this. Jay says, just ask Nancy Pelosi if it was a setup. I'm telling you. Hi, Beverly. Yeah, so I hope King Tony can join us. I want her to okay, story time. So while we're waiting for Jimmy to come on, story time, because King Tony texted me this morning at like 8 a.m. and she was she was going crazy over the fact that she just found out that the Manson case, murders, and the Charles Manson, like the whole setup was basically like a psyop. Excuse me. So I mean, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, let me know in the chat if you would describe it as a psyop. Would you describe that as a psyop or what? Or was it a setup? Because when I was going down that rabbit hole, I was like, oh yeah, the CIA had their hands all over this, right? And is my opinion that it just got out of hand with a guy like Charles Manson, and the murders are just, like a side effect of when the drugs go wrong or whenever the indoctrination goes too far or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like the CIA was using that as like a social experiment to see what would happen. So they were funding him, they were, giving him the drugs or whatever, and then they just watch to see what happens. Like how they do experiments on rats. So King Tony just found that out, my cousin. And so she's texting me this morning and I see her chats in the chat in on X, and she's like, "Oh my god, Charles Manson, what? He was basically, I don't know if he was an informant or whatever, but he was basically paid, by the CIA. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not going to be about that, but like whatever. We already know that the government had their fingers on it, so it's like fake." Um and so she was going crazy over that. CM was effing crazy. Yeah, but when you look into the story of who he was, how he did what he did, how did he get released from prison when he was arrested for something else before those murders, and he got laid off. It was above their pay grade to arrest him, so he wasn't. They let him go basically. So when you start looking at these clues and stuff, you realize how much the government used to I don't know if they're still involved in it, but they used to be involved into giving these people, drugs, whatever drug it was, and then they would just let you free and see what happens. And unfortunately, people got murdered. So I hope they learned their lesson from that, to stop messing with people. We are real people, real humans, and we do have lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like this government, deep state, kind of doesn't view us as humans, and like if we're just a number to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Beverly says, CM uses mind control, drug control, etc. Yes, but where was he getting it from? He was funded by the CIA. And when you find that out, you start connecting dots like, oh, damn. They made it seem like he was just one rogue serial killer or cult leader or whatever. And it was like, no, he was being funded and by the CIA. Like, why are they still in existence? You know how I talk about the whole JFK stuff? And I'm like, we know what the FBI was involved. Why are they still in existence? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I will always have that question until maybe I get a real, I don't know what type of answer. I don't think anything would actually quiet my mind about that. I guess until they're abolished, because I would just want to see them abolished. But anyways, yeah, when you start figuring out that it wasn't just him on his own, he had the deep state fingers in that. Okay, they used him to do their dirty work, and unfortunately, people died. So that's the point of this whole thing. And King Tony found out that that was the case, and she was questioning everything. And I start laughing. And now, you know what, Jimmy? Now I know how you feel, because now when she comes to me and she tells me like these new things that she finds out, I start laughing. Like, no, not laughing, but giggling. Like, oh, you see what happened? Oh, you found out, huh? And she was like, you knew? And I was like, yeah. I let you do your own research and wait for you to wake up. Jimmy says they're still doing it. Uh-oh. And Jimmy's here on the stage. Hi, Jimmy.
Good evening, Ruby. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Hello, everybody in the chat. Hope y'all are doing well.
Yes, we got a few people watching, some people in the chat. And now that Jimmy's here, if there's any questions, you can ask Jimmy. But yeah, Jimmy, happy J6 anniversary.
Hell yeah, happy anniversary. I tell you what, not much has changed. It was cold then and it's cold now.
Yeah, but I kind of feel different about it. Like before, I had that fear, like I was saying earlier, but now I feel like, okay, I'm confident Trump is going to become president again. He's going to pardon them. He's going to, he's going to do the right thing. And I kind of feel a little bit better. Like I'm not nervous.
Yeah, there's no reason to be nervous. I mean, and the whole fear thing, that's exactly what they want to do is, or they, you know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
They want people to live in fear. They want people to, you know, have that fear mentality. And they do it all the time. I mean, look, 2025 has started off with a bang with Vegas, New Orleans, and fires in California now, and a bunch of other crap going on. So they're pushing the fear button very hard right now, and it's going to get worse. Just saying. So
Yeah, I saw a tweet that said 2025 just started, and the that means that the false flags are starting
oh yeah,
because they want us to get into a war. But we talk about this all the time.
yeah.
But wasn't it weird that it happened literally after New Year's? Like they don't even give you time to,
No.
break in the new year. They're already doing stuff like this.
Well, you think about it, any holiday, people are wanting to be happy. They're wanting to spend time with family and friends, have a good time. But
Mhm.
deep state can't have that because that raises your frequency level, that raises your vibrations. And
Mm,
so they've got to have something happen to where everybody feels like crap again. It's like,
right.
oh man, no, you got. So that's what it is. I mean, in some sense, it's a battle of frequencies.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that.
I'm here to make good points.
Yeah, for real. And I just told Tony that too. I say, I know I say this every Tuesday, but I hope Jimmy joins because it makes me think a different way. And that's good about talking with other people because I'm like, I would have never thought about half of the things that I do if it wasn't for other people
Well,
coming on and saying stuff.
and that's why they cranked up the censorship so much after, in 2020, because they didn't want people talking. They didn't want people sharing different ideas and thoughts and scenarios. They didn't want that. I mean, if you think about the founding fathers, where did they go to talk and discuss things? They went to the pubs, they went to the taverns.
Yep.
And what's one of the first things that they shut down in 2020?
Yeah.
The pubs
Exactly
and the
that.
taverns. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, little things like that. A lot of people don't think about that stuff. So, but it's a good point. So,
Yep.
but as far as J6 is concerned, being the fact that I went,
Mm-hmm.
this is a subject, this is a hill that I will die on, and I will defend it till the day I die. And anybody that comes at me and spouts the narrative that the BS media put out there, they're gonna, like I put in a Twitter post or an X post,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna get a Gen X response
I
because
saw that.
if you weren't there, you can't say nothing.
Exactly.
You can't say shit. Yeah, you can't say nothing.
No, I agree with you. That's why I'm happy you did go because I would have not known anybody personally who went that actually talks about it the way that you do. Like you're so
now,
open with it.
now that day, just lead up a little bit to that. We started heading down to the ellipse at about 6:30 in the morning. We finally got there about 7:15, and when I got there, there were already thousands of people there at 7:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So if the media tries to say, oh, there was only a few hundred or a few thousand people there, no. That place, I've been to rock concerts, I've been to baseball games, I've been to football games,
Mm-hmm.
I've been to some large crowds. That is the largest crowd I have ever seen in my life.
Even bigger than a district convention?
Oh, 100 times bigger than a district convention.
Wow.
I mean, walking up, it was shoulder to shoulder. You're standing up there at the Washington Monument. And I mean, if you look at the pictures, there's pictures, Trump put them out the other day, but there's pictures showing, I would dare say there was over 1 million people there. It had to be. Had to be.
Wow.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this. If it was in our mind to take over the Capitol, oh, we would have done it without weapons. Because there's no way that you could have stopped that crowd if that was the motive, and that was if that was what we wanted to do, it could have happened.
Right.
But that's
Right.
not what took place. And I have people saying, "Oh, well, they stopped at the stores and got their riot gear and put guns." And not one. First off, you're not allowed to carry a gun in D.C.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that everybody knew. And before we all even went, there were different chat programs out there, different groups, and we were all discussing things about wearing body cameras, not taking our weapons, leaving those at home. I had camping gear because I didn't, Bowser said she was going to shut down the hotels in DC. So I had camping gear in my car. And camping gear comes with a lot of stuff. So that all stayed in my car at the hotel. I did not carry anything with me. I wish I would have carried some feet warmers because damn, my feet got cold. Because it was cold that day. But the atmosphere was so patriotic. Everybody was just nice to each other. They were cordial. I was talking to people from all over the country. And so when I say it was a great day, that's what I'm talking about, is the patriotic environment that was there that day. And when you're walking first off, Trump was an hour late to give his speech. That was by design, because his speech, and a lot of people don't know this, his speech was not done when the Capitol was being breached. He was still talking when the Capitol got breached. And the reason, and I know this because there were a couple of people I saw that, I had to question how they were dressed because they were wearing the all black and everything like that. And I went back through my videos that I took, and I was panning the crowd looking for people, and I was picking out certain individuals. And I'm like, yeah, that's a paid agitator right there. There's one right there. I have them in my videos, my personal videos.
Right.
And those people were leaving like a half hour before Trump was done speaking. The majority of the crowd, we didn't start leaving until Trump was actually done.
Exactly. Like a real supporter would do. You would stay there until he's done talking.
Exactly. But there were people that were leaving and walking up towards the Capitol. Now, mind you, it's like a mile. I think it was like a mile between the Washington Monument and the Capitol. So once Trump was done and we all started walking, it was like we got like halfway there and word started coming out that there were explosions and stuff going off at the Capitol. So I would dare say that 80% of the people that were there listening to Trump were nowhere to be seen when it was being breached. So when I got there, when I got to the Capitol, I was with Beth and Cher Andrews. And I told Beth and Cher, I said, y'all stay right here. Y'all sit on this corner. I'm going to go in further. I'm going to go up closer and see what's going on. And so I went through the crowd, I took more videos and everything. And I got to a point to where I was like, okay, I'm not going any further. But while I was standing there, I saw people scaling the walls. I saw the buses and the ambulances coming in. On the way there, while we were walking that 1 mile walk, I saw people changing their clothes from the black into Trump gear. We saw the Antifa buses come in the night before because we got there early and then we went down there that's when Ray Epps was out there that night before and was saying, we got to storm the Capitol. He was saying that on the night before. And so we saw the buses. So for anybody that wants to say, oh, Jimmy, no, there's no paid agitators and there was no Antifa people there. F you. I saw them.
Yeah.
I saw him. So after a while, the police started coming in pretty heavily. And I was like, okay, it's time to get out of here, because then they were start talking about a curfew. And I went back to Cher and Beth. I said, listen, we got to get out of here. I said, it's time for us to go. And that's about the time that Trump came out and said that, hey, I feel your pain. I understand. We just need to go, need to leave peacefully. Blah. The thing is about that statement that he made, he was not talking to the Trump supporters. He was talking to the deep state players, the ones that instigated this.
Okay.
And if you look back at what Christopher Wray said in Congress, he was asked, were there any paid informants? Were there any, FBI guys? Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't tell, blah, 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 blah. What do you mean? And then later we come to find out that there was at least 28 confidential human sources from the FBI that were in the crowd.
Yep, I saw that.
So that right there just blows their little, oh, there were no paid agitators. There was no yes, there freaking was. And if you think about it, how do the doors of the Capitol open? They open from the inside. The police, the Capitol Police, were letting people in. I effing saw it.
Yeah, and later on, we saw it as well when they were releasing those tapes, which was well after the fact that the whole media was running with it and people were already getting arrested and things like that. So unfortunately, I mean, people got the wrong perception at first.
And they try to say, oh, well, the Trump supporters were, fighting the police and hurting the police and killing the police. No police officer died on January 6th.
Right.
Some had a complication of a heart issue, and some committed suicide after January 6th, but not one police officer died that day. But the media will tell you that they did. And as far as Miss Ashley Babbitt, yeah, go look at the videos on that. That was bullshit.
And I have not dived into that one, but some people say that was
fake as shit. That was fake as crap.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to get the right words, but some people do say that it was fake, that she didn't die that day. They also make reference to Trump tweeting that no one died that day.
Yeah, no one died that day. No one.
How can you say that when she did, or at least somebody did, that they tried to say it was her?
If you look at the video, the breakdown of the videos that have been done on the whole scene, from the time that they were banging on that window to the time that she was on the floor and everything, let your eyes tell you the story. I mean, when she fell, she fell right on top of her backpack. Okay. And if you look at the videos, there was no blood anywhere in this area at all until after she was on the ground. There was no rush to get to her. There was people milling. It was BS. And I will die on that hill.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, so that's the next rabbit hole I need to go. Think
about it. Okay, so if it was a clear murder, then why wasn't Michael Byrd held accountable? Why hasn't he been charged with murder? Why?
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, well, he was defending the Capitol. No. And that whole thing, that whole incident was designed to make the Trump supporters look bad. That's all it was.
Okay, so then what do you think happened to her? Is she still alive?
I believe so.
Okay, and then, so what happened to... okay, so maybe she has a new identity, a new name and everything. What about her family? What about people who know her, who never seen her again, who thinks maybe that she is. Okay, we're speculating, guys.
Yeah, this is complete speculation. But the
Yeah.
thing is you got to look at how these people operate. If it's a criminal organization running stuff, don't you think they would pay people off to do their bidding?
Yes.
It's very simple. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
I agree. But you see, this is what bothers me is when you see something on TV and you can't really tell, or you can't really have another angle to see what really happened, and then you'll always speculate. You know what I'm saying? Like your mind will always.
It's like George Floyd. And I'm not going to get into that subject too deep, but I will say this. If you look at the videos of George Floyd before the incident on the ground, he had hair. While he's on the ground, he's bald. Explain that.
Wow, really?
Yes, 100%.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's something else I need to look into that.
Everybody thought 9/11 was real because they saw it on the TV. What have we learned since then? Everybody thought we landed on the moon because they saw it on TV. What have we learned since then?
Yeah, but like I told you, it's different when you're there. Like I was the little girl when 9/11 happened. So when you're seeing it literally happen in front of you, it's like I used to say the same thing you would say. Like I would die on that hill. I saw the plane hit the building, and I even being 5-6 years old, that was a core memory that I have. But then now that I'm older, I'm like, oh damn, it was probably a bomb, maybe not a plane. So like 20 years later, you're trying to figure out what the heck happened back then with new information, new technology, internet. And sometimes it's kind of hard to reconcile that fact that maybe it wasn't.
I said in the chat a little while ago, the real insurrection happened on November 3rd.
Yes, I agree.
And all January 6th was the cover up because they didn't want people talking about November 3rd. They wanted everybody talking about January 6th and how awful Trump supporters are. That's it. That's it.
Okay, so before I say hi to King Tony, there was a question for you from JG. He says, Jimmy, the media showcased paramilitary groups snaking through the crowd. Do you believe this is legit?
I do. I've got a video on my phone to where I was panning the crowd. And oh God, let me see if I wonder if I can find it real quick for you. And I can show you there's this guy up against a tree and he's wearing all black and he looks completely out of place. I tell you what, let me jump off here real quick. Let me go find that video
and come back. Yep.
And I'll DM it to you. And so I can show everybody what I'm talking about. Give me a few minutes. Let me go find that. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll say hi to King Tony.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
This question for you. All right, guys. Jimmy, any more questions? Put them in the chat. I'll star it. And then when he comes back, I can bring it up. All right, King Tony, you're on.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I just finished cooking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Oh, it was delicious.
All right. So before Jimmy jumped on, I was talking about how you texted me this morning at like 8 a.m. when you found out that the Charles Manson murders were basically...
Bro,
You want to talk about it?
Mind blown.
Yeah, so what did you find out?
And like there's a book also. I sent it to you.
You did?
Yeah, I sent it to, I think it was on IG.
Oh, okay. IG. Okay.
But yeah, that's why.
What did you find out? What did you find out this morning?
No, that it's basically CIA, and that it was about drugs, and they were experimenting these drugs with the hippies, and it was also to create fear. And because I guess the hippies felt so free and as if like they could do anything. And so like it was mostly to put fear in people and to make them feel unsafe. And like, okay, now they have to do whatever the states are saying.
Right.
When before, you know, I guess there was no real respect for law enforcement like that. It's like, everyone handled their own thing kind of thing.
Right. So
So
they
they
had to
wanted to
create
change that, and
something.
that's how they did it.
Right. Okay. And that also makes you think about those programs that the CIA has, that kind of like mind control or like
Mhm.
manipulation
Yeah.
of your mind and like weird stuff like that,
Mhm.
that would make a perfectly healthy person who has no prior history to do anything overnight become like a terrorist or a school
Yeah.
shooter or a bomber or something. Like, it makes you
Right.
think, right? And
Mhm.
that's what I was telling you, like, that's why I made that joke that the CIA is not giving us any serial killers anymore, so they're doing something else. It's like they got rid of that program. Now they're doing school shooters for the next 20 years because the agenda was to take guns away, in my opinion. So they had to make something up, like you said.
Oh
They
my
had to
God,
make
this
it
is
up,
scary. This is
right?
scary.
Okay, Jimmy's back. Let me see. Okay, Jimmy, got you. And I got the
Hey, Jimmy.
What's up, Tony?
the video that he wants to show.
Papi, it's time to go to bed. You heard me.
Okay, so, you can mute yourself, Tony, for a second. I'm gonna all right. I'm gonna play this
And I'll tell
clip
you when
that-
to pause it. Pause it when I get around to the tree.
Okay.
You'll see what I'm talking about. And before we start it, look at everybody else. Look at what everybody else is wearing. Look at the expressions on the people's faces
Mhm.
that are there. And then when we get to the tree, you'll see the guy up against the tree and another guy beside him. And
Okay.
tell me, do they look like they? One of these things doesn't belong. This kind of sort of thing. So check it out.
Okay, let's check it out.
In the meantime, I'm gonna pack my bong.
The Washington Monument, and there is the of people. No freaking lie. This is just a very small portion. Look at this. I'm here to.
Right there. Go back.
Okay.
That guy. And those two guys right there.
Yup, those two guys right there.
Do they look like Trump supporters?
No.
Can you screenshot that and blow it up?
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Let me screenshot
I
that.
don't know if you can or not, but
I think I can. Okay. Save. Wow, that's very interesting.
I was picking them out all day long.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm the crazy conspiracy theorist, right?
Let me see how I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna send you the screenshot and then I'm gonna blow it up from here.
Okay.
Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, ski mask on one, and then this other guy, he looks a little scary, to be honest.
That's what you call paid agitators right there. Because they don't look like anyone else in the freaking crowd.
Hmm.
And these were some of them that would change out of these clothes into Trump gear as they went up to the Capitol.
Right.
Tell me I'm crazy.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when I said that like the John Wick kind of world of assassins and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
the work they kind of this is what they look like to me. They look like the guys that John Wick would kill in the movie.
Yeah.
that
I
they
mean,
were
look
chasing.
at it. Look at his face.
Yeah.
I mean, blow it up even more on the guy on the left if you can.
The
Does
guy
he
on the-
even look like he's excited to be there? Look at that.
No.
Look at that dude.
Yeah, like he's waiting for something. He's like leaning on the tree and he's just waiting. He's not like participating, like
Yeah.
like if he wants to be there, like excited like everybody else. So the energy is off. The vibe is off.
Exactly.
You could tell. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mm.
we were admonished before we even went to have our video cameras going, have our body cams going, and capture things because of stuff like this. You can't tell me that guy right there was there for any good reasons. Either one of them.
Yeah, the ski mask one, I don't like that. I don't like the ski mask. I don't like the look. I don't like the. I don't know. Like, to me, it looks like a gangster type of vibe that
Yep.
I get.
And you got to remember, this happened what? And well, okay, so it was after COVID hit. Now, it was cold. Let's give him some credit. Maybe he wanted to wear the ski mask because it was cold that day, but there were a lot of people there that weren't wearing ski masks. A lot. I didn't have a ski mask on. I was covering up in my hoodie.
Yeah, and we come from New York, and that's pretty like normal, right, to wear,
Right.
but you wouldn't really wear it. You know what I mean? Because it gives off the vibe like you're gonna get robbed. So you would stay away from that. And if you do see somebody wearing that, you hold your purse a little tighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yep.
just it's just the look of it. It's a little scary, like unsafe.
But that guy on the left, yeah, he was there. He wasn't there for any good reason.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this other question that Jay had for you. Oh, wait, do you want to finish that video that you sent me?
You kid, there's not much left, I don't think. I think it's only like 60 minutes or 60 seconds.
60 seconds? Okay.
I was just panning the crowd. But yeah, I mean, look at everybody else.
Yeah.
So I will just let you guys know what's going on. I don't know how the service is going to be, but anyway, it's amazing. It is amazing how many people are here already. We're going to set a record today.
Yeah, people are wearing masks.
So,
okay, so this question from Jay. He says, Jimmy, anarchist groups use large events to create chaos. Was it anarchist, white supremacy, paramilitary, Antifa, or just the deep state?
it was Antifa, BLM, some of the Proud Boys, because the Proud Boys got infiltrated too. And there was FBI personnel, confidential, what they call confidential human sources. These confidential human sources, they actually infiltrate these different organizations like the Proud Boys to kind of figure out what they're doing, what they're planning, and all that, and then they relay that information back to the FBI. So yeah, it was a combination of different groups that were pulling this off, and it was all headed up by Nancy Pelosi and the deep state players there, because they tried to say that, oh, Trump never called the National, never gave what's the word I'm looking for? Trump never gave the orders to put National Guard troops there. Yeah, he did offer the troops. The DC mayor and Nancy Pelosi denied it. That is 100% fact. Fact.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
So you got to look at it this way. Why would Nancy Pelosi and Mayor Bowser deny the National Guard? Because they knew the National Guard would come in and stop this situation. Trump knew that they would stop this situation. This is why Trump was an hour late in giving the speech, because he was protecting the people as much as he could from being up there when it was taking place.
Okay, that makes sense. I could see that. I could see that happening. Wow, yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Everybody says true, and thanks for sharing, Jimmy. Everybody appreciates that. I do too. So then I wanted to ask you about Jimmy Carter, switching subjects, but I know that you believe that, there's puppets or doubles, or that some people are actually dead and what we're seeing is just a show. And I know you really do believe that. And I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I need a little bit more. Like, I can't fully say that that's true, nor will I deny it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm right in the middle. So when the Jimmy Carter thing happened, he passed away recently, but then I see your post on X and other people say, oh, well, this is the second time he's died, because before they released like this, maybe it was like a fake article that said, oh, Jimmy Carter dies at 90 something.
98.
And then and then a few years later now, which is 2024, 25, they say, oh, Jimmy Carter has died again. So people are talking about that. I wanted to get your opinion about that.
So let's just say some things get pulled from the media because people jump the gun. For example, go back to 9/11, and I'm doing the Trump weave. Go back to 9/11, and you had a reporter outside of the Pentagon reporting that, yeah, there's a big hole in the Pentagon, but he personally, who was on site, did not see any debris from a plane.
Right.
Okay. That was scrubbed from the internet, and that was scrubbed from the news.
It was.
Then there was helicopters, a news helicopter or whatever, flying around the World Trade Center, and they were told to stop filming and come back to the studio. Okay. That's true. So sometimes these deep state players, they mess up and they put something out, and then they have to retract it really, really, really quick. This is what happened with Jimmy Carter in the announcement that he was dead at 98 years old. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she died way before she was actually announced that she was dead. What they do is they wait with some of these high profile people. They wait to announce their deaths so that it could fit their narrative to try to create a distraction on something else or whatever else is going on at the time. They basically use it like an ace card. They pull out their ace whenever they're ready to use it or when they need to use it.
Okay, wait, okay, hold on. So 2 questions. 1, what makes you believe that? And then 2, why would they do that?
What makes me believe it is the 4+5 years of research that I've done and all the different videos that I've seen on this particular topic, on how they use masks, doubles to create a narrative. There's just been too many people, you have too many people that, have admitted to faking their deaths, even, some just regular most, Joe Schmoes, they fake their death to get out of a marriage or something. That's not something that it happens.
Right. Okay.
It does. Can we agree that there are people that fake their death?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't the deep state use that to their advantage with some of these high profile people?
Okay.
And especially if you've got some of these high profile people that have committed treason, crimes against humanity, and they've already been taken out. Deep state likes to put them back in, create confusion, and throw people off. So yeah, I totally believe. And go look at his coffin this time around while he's laying in state. Tell me if you see a clean, wrinkle-free flag or not. I guarantee you will not see a clean, wrinkle-free flag.
And what does that mean?
If the flag is wrinkled, that means that they're a traitor.
Really?
Go look at George Bush's casket. Go look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg's casket. Go look at Jimmy Carter's casket. Go look at John McCain's casket. All of those flags are wrinkled.
Really? Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to look into that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so does it matter also like what position it's in? Because I saw a tweet that said that his was on the right-hand side, whereas John McCain was on the left, or something like that. It was something to the effect of how it was positioned.
I'm not sure about that. I just know about the wrinkling.
Okay. John Marciano says Billy Graham too. twice Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but
Billy Graham. Did you say Billy Graham?
Yeah, Billy Graham.
Graham. Yeah, Billy Graham. That was that big popular preacher guy.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to Google that. Beverly says, I hope Trump releases Epstein name list. You see, how many years have we been saying that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've lost a little trust,
Well,
a little confidence.
Let's just put it this way. The people are waking up more and more every day. And I do believe it's going to come to a point to where if you look at one of the things that Trump said today in his press conference, he actually quoted a Q post where he was talking about water and the shower. And he said, drip, drip, drip.
Really?
Yes. I'm telling you, if you got to listen to what Trump says in his speeches, because he throws out a lot of comms in his speeches. And a lot of times he does stuff just to freaking troll the deep state. It's hilarious. I love it.
Okay, so talking about Trump, a lot of people have said something. Let me see if I can share. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to share this opinion that people have been having about the whole Greenland purchase.
Okay.
Where was it? Okay. I'll read it. It says, some very serious accusations are being thrown around about Donald Trump. It comes down to this. Trump either played us all or God chose him to help save America. Which do you believe? Everyone has their theories and reasons to believe what they do, some of which make sense and some of which don't. Any logical, opinionated person right now is racking their minds, trying to figure out what all this means for America as Trump discusses acquiring more territory. Is it good or bad? I believe that God tapped me and many of you on the shoulder, specifically after Donald Trump took office in 2017. Why, though? There's no doubt in my mind that our spiritual awareness right now is higher than any other point in our lives. Is that a true or false statement? So what does that mean? Is God preparing us? Was God warning us? God wants us to pray about these questions, but I will tell you my opinion. My opinion, for what it's worth, relies on 100% faith in God alone. What I've discovered over the last several years was that America was in deep trouble. The direction we were heading was unfathomable. The plans they had in place for us was truly diabolical. The scariest part for me is that I didn't figure any of that out until Donald Trump stepped onto the scene and ran for president. I had no clue how bad things really were. I had no idea what the WEF was or who George Soros was. Heck, I even admired Bill Gates. How many of you can say you didn't notice anything till Trump came along? That tells me something significant. The one world government agenda was doing just fine before Donald Trump, as many of us were sound asleep. So why wake up the masses? Why allow us to have voices? Why expose the deepest, darkest secrets? There is a spiritual element to all of this. I feel it. I know it deep down in the marrow of my bones. You all can feel it too. God is using his light to expose the darkness. I get the reasons why people may feel this way. I too have questions, but it's still too early to understand the complexities of what's happening. This can be a very slippery slope, no doubt, but there are clear strategic reasons why this makes sense. Our Constitution was a godsend when written, and those protections and rights would transfer to Canada and Greenland. Our Second Amendment, for example, would take immediate effect, as well as other freedoms. Also, it appears to me that Trump is maybe preparing for something. He's making national security a top priority, and he's taking drastic defensive strategic positions to protect the United States. Is there a reason, or it's simply about economic power? Economic power, shipping routes, resources, and minerals. These things will empower America to reach heights we never could before. I also believe there are many historical facts that have been long forgotten in regards to the founding of America. But the facts today for me are simple. George Soros, China, and others have had major influence in these countries surrounding the US. The NOO agenda was already in effect, unbeknownst to many of us, surrounding us. That is until Donald Trump came along. So my current stance is that Donald Trump is not working to push a NWO agenda, but instead he's trying to counter it. That's how I feel. I'm not naive. I do understand people's concerns. I'm just personally leaning more on faith, and I've long ago placed it all at the feet of God to lead us. I've listened to God every step of the way on this journey, exposed what God placed in front of me, and have had many people wake up over the last several years. That's the path I've been on. That's the path God placed me on. I don't believe God is done with America, and therefore I 100% trust God's outcome for us. And he wrote that in response to this screenshot. And it says, if you're wondering why there's talk of bringing in Canada and Greenland, here's your answer. Trump was installed to usher the new world order and to get conservatives to accept it, and it's working. So this was the opinion that some people have, that Trump is doing all of this to help the NWO, whereas the tweet that I just read was completely against it. So I wanted to ask you about
who put that out? Wasn't it? It was, who put that out? I forgot.
MJ Truth Ultra.
Yeah, MK. Yeah. Who was it?
MJ Truth Ultra.
Oh yeah, MJ Truth Ultra has a lot of good stuff. It's that person's been a strong digital soldier for the past 8 years. It's one of the ones I've got to go to. Before I comment on that, which I agree with everything that MJ said, go back to our big picture thread and find the video of the guy with the white in his beard. It's about 7 minutes long, but it gives more context to this. It's very
this guy. Okay, let me see.
It's very important.
Is it this guy?
Yes.
Jasper Truth. Yeah, you see, I had this tab ready because I was like, I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, play this because it'll tie in to what MJ Truth put out.
Okay, so I skipped it up to the 2-minute mark because that's when he actually gets to the meat of the video.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play it from there.
We all have been talking about the deep state, the cabal, the elites, the Satanists. Who are they? Where are they? How do they operate? They are the British elites. They are the British elites who always had an agenda for world domination. Their British Empire has never ended. They reworded it to the Commonwealth, but Canada, listen, Canada never was a country. It was always 100% owned and controlled by the British elites.
Correct.
Australia and New Zealand, the exact same thing. Those are not countries. The government is just puppet theater, it's just show, even more than in other countries. Other countries have to be influenced by these elites. Australia and Canada are full-blown, downright owned by them. The flag of Canada doesn't mean anything. It's just there for show. Same for Australia and New Zealand. If Trump says that these countries, or these areas, I should say, will become part of America, or that he will liberate them, this means only one thing. It means that it's a done deal. It means that it's permanently game over for the elites. It means that the deep state is dead. It means that the cabal is no more. Their power has been taken from their hands. If they say that they are even going to liberate the United Kingdom, it means that the crown has been removed from the head of the snake. Do you understand what I'm saying? So where are these elites? Have you ever heard about the city of London? No, I'm not saying London City. We all know London City. The city of London is 1 square mile inside of London City. That is a sovereign city-state, surrounded by 14 dragons, statues of a dragon. Their coat of arms shows the creed. Well, it shows 2 dragons and the creed, Lord guide us. Who is the dragon? According to the ancient scriptures, the dragon is Satan. He is the force of evil that deceives all the nations in the world. And that's exactly what these elites have been doing. They have been deceiving all the nations of the world. And if Trump says that he is going to remove Canada from them and liberate England from them, well, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, and Australia. I got an email from a man in England who said that several years ago he received information from a high level that this would happen because Trump is taking down the deep state, he's taking down the satanic elites, and he has said a new light is shining all around the world. People, this is not a game. We are experiencing literally the deliverance of the human race from the dragon, from the satanic elites, from the cabal. It's not just the corruption in the government of America. It is this force, this ruling force around the world that owns Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, Greenland, the North Pole. Trump is saying, we're just going to take it all. We are going to experience the greatest deliverance of the human race in all of time. I'll explain much more about this in the future. But guys, I feel that I fail in conveying it to you because it is so much more powerful than I can say in my words. We have no idea. We have no idea what's happening. Stay tuned. Make sure to not sign up, but follow me here on X, because I'm going to explain much more about this. What we're experiencing is what has been prophesied in the book of Enoch and in the book of Revelation. The permanent removal of the dragon, of the snake, of Satan, of this ruling force of evil. It is being defeated forever. And humanity is about to enter a new era, which is described as a new heaven and a new earth. Everything will be made new in the coming years and decades. In 10 years, we won't believe the transformations that we have been experiencing for the better. I wish that I could show you what it means and how incredibly fantastic this is. Most people will see this and will not understand it. Yep. It's greater and more phenomenal than we understand. So make sure to follow me because I'm going to share so much more. We are in for something indescribably fantastic.
Yep.
Nice.
I've been saying that since 2020.
I feel it. And I see more people like you on the internet. And I haven't seen this type of algorithm before. So it does make me think. And there's other like, if anybody wants to follow him, his name on X is Jasper Truth.
Yeah, he's good too.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I told people back in 2020 when everybody was all, R versus D and blah blah. I'm like, it's not even about that anymore.
Right.
We are in a spiritual battle. This is good versus evil. That's what it is. So if you're still someone out there that wants to get hung up on R versus D, then you're not awake yet. Sorry, I'm just going to say it like it is.
Yes, I agree with that. And I'm coming to terms with that a little bit more because remember how, Mr. M used to say stuff like, "Oh, you're still sleeping. You still think that this is like your savior or whatever." And I was like, whatever. And people would email me like, "You're stuck on politics and stuck on presidents and this and that, but you're not seeing the bigger picture." And it's like that spiritual warfare, that side that this guy is talking about. I see it now. I was like, I understand it now.
Have you ever looked at the Schumann resonance?
No.
Do a quick search on latest Schumann resonance picture.
Latest Schumann.
SCHUMEN.
Okay, hold on. SCH. Oh, CH. Mm-hmm.
I think it's UMEN.
Okay, let's
resonance.
See.
See if it'll come up.
Resonance.
I know it's been around on X a lot here the last week or so. It looked like a graph.
Okay, let me see. Oh. Resonance?
Resonance, yeah.
Resonance. Oh, okay. I put like residence, like somebody's house. Oh, that's
Oh,
hilarious.
oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a heartbeat. It says like heartbeat of the
Can you,
earth or something like that.
can you share the screen?
Yes. Okay, share my screen.
And I'll try to explain it to people.
Okay.
All right. Go to that one on the far right.
This one?
The one on the far right. Yeah, that one. Let's see what that looks like.
Oh, it's not showing me the picture. Oh, that's weird.
Okay. So anyway, people get the idea. Basically, what this is, and I'm gonna do it in layman's terms the best way I can. I can't give this. All right. This actually measures the vibrational frequencies of our planet. And the more green at that red at the bottom and the green and all that, those are lower frequencies. Up at the top, you can see it's really bright and light and everything. That is a higher frequency that the Earth is vibrating at. Here in the past week, it has been lit up to become, it's been lit up to be that color at the top. So that just tells me that the vibrational frequencies of the planet have been raising at an amazing rate right now.
Okay, what do you think that means?
That means people are waking the hell up. And good things are taking place behind the scenes. This is why it drove me crazy for 4+ years when people say, "Oh, nothing's happening." Well, that's because you're not doing any freaking research. You're not in it. You're not paying attention.
Okay, but these are like this is like the frequencies of the earth, right?
Correct.
Not humans like
Correct.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because we are connected to the earth, I mean, when you walk around barefoot, you're grounding. You're grounding to the earth. You're getting electrical charges from the earth into your body. So we are just like lions and tigers and trees and mountains. It's all part of the earth. We as human beings, we are part of the physical earth.
Right.
So as our electrons and stuff start vibrating at higher frequencies, it does affect the planet itself.
Wow, yeah, that makes sense.
And these are things people don't know, they don't talk about, they haven't looked it up.
Right. So I'm showing this for Jenny S in the chat. This is Jasper Truth's official X page. This is what it looks like, and his handle is @Jasper_Truth. So if you want to follow him, you can go there. Spyro says everything is vibration and frequency. Tesla was right.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, yeah, this is reminding me of how those like those videos on YouTube or like those shorts that used to say that they don't want you to reach your inner like pineal gland or something.
Correct.
Like the highest version of your soul or like spirit type of videos. I used to watch those things, and I'm very careful with it because I don't want to go too far. But like that's what it's reminding me of. Like,
yeah,
we're not in touch with that because we're so detached from our inner spirit type stuff. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not in touch with our higher selves, because we have higher selves.
Yeah, and
So
somebody was telling me that like how like there was one theory that our hair is like an extension of ourselves, and that our hair can like sense bad energy, and that's what gives our brain the signal of like, oh, something scary, or like like that fear.
Okay, did you see Avatar?
Yes.
What did they do with the hair?
Yeah, and how their tails used to connect with the tree, and it would give them like a memory or like a trance.
Yeah,
or something.
They were telling you right there what we're capable of.
Wow. And you see how they tell us, oh, your hair is dead. That like in school they used to teach you, oh, your hair is like dead. it's not alive. And
Yeah.
now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, I don't think our hair is dead. I think our
No.
hair is a part, like an important part of us.
Yes.
And Tony was telling me that, you know, that's why your hair goes up on the back of your neck when you have like demonic presence or something.
Yes.
And I was like, of course. I mean, we've all felt something like that, fear
Yep.
of something in this like spiritual realm, because you can't see it. So it's invisible, but your body can sense it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking, yo, when I was getting baptized, I remember like the back of my neck, like right at the start of your spine,
Mhm.
that thing right there was vibrating the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Jenny told me in a chat a long time ago, she said you were experiencing a spiritual baptism, not a contract between an organization, and that's why, you know, she was like, that's why you feel that way. I was like, yo, for real, I actually believe that,
Yeah.
because that thing in the back of my head did not stop vibrating. And I'm like, the only other time that I felt something like that was when I was high, when I was smoking weed, and that little thing in the back of your throat, like it's like the back of your throat, but like the back of your head here, it starts vibrating, and that's when you know you're super high. I mean, that's just me.
Right.
But like that was the only other time that I felt that. So I was like, oh snap.
People have been so conditioned to live in a contraction of themselves. People have no clue, most people, how powerful they actually are.
Right.
But the thing is the controllers of the world, they do know how powerful we as a human species are.
Exactly.
This is why they have sought out to control us, to divide us, to enslave us, to manipulate us, to brainwash us. That's
Yep.
why they do it.
Right. Yeah. And they have that ancient history knowledge that they're keeping from us, just like the Vatican is keeping all that information, and even you know, certain books of the Bible that they didn't even include in the Bible. It was like, why would they do that? Why are they like gatekeeping this type of information? Or like the way you guys told me that giants exist, and the whole theory about the dinosaur bones. It's like, why would they do that? Why are you holding or withholding information like that that could have easily been, like, we could have been told that? Like, I don't see the reason why you wouldn't say something like that. But they know it, and they hide it, and they create these wars so that they could invade other countries and take those relics and those ancient things and raid those places.
Yeah.
And they take it and they put it under the Vatican, and you never see it again.
Correct. 100%.
And that's just my opinion. You know, that's just how I feel. But
are we blowing people's minds in the chat? Because I can't see the chat right now.
Well, Tony says agreed. Like, people are agreeing. Like, yeah. And then Thrifty said bald people are, and then she put an emoji, but I can't see what that emoji is. She says, or maybe bald people make good antennae. But that's what makes me think, like, how they were you know, people were dyeing their hairs weird colors. Like, people were going through a phase. Like, American culture went through a phase. People were dyeing their hair colors. That's chemicals. People were shaving their heads off. That's another thing in itself. But it makes me think, like, just like how they attack masculinity, then they pushed the feminism, and then feminism went out of control. Then it slippered down the slope of LGBTQ, and that slipped into trans, and it slipped, like, it keeps slipping into something we can't even control anymore. Like, it balloons.
It's
And
called
I'm like,
it's called nudging. This is what the deep state was doing. They were nudging us down their path that they wanted us to be down. So whenever they said, this is the only example I can use. I don't mean to say this to offend anybody, but when they started letting gays get married,
yes,
then they pushed it to another level. And then when they got to that level, then they pushed it to another level.
yes.
So that's just an example I'm using. I'm not speaking out. I don't care if you're gay or not, but this is just an example of nudging. And we can see it, and we can see it in our music, and we can see it in our movies. You know, back in the 50s and 60s, TV for the most part was pretty wholesome.
Yep.
But as the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, tell me one show right now on TV
Mm-hmm.
that shows the father in a good light, where he's providing for his home, he's giving wisdom to his family, he's helping his family thrive, and he's an all-around good father and a good role model. Tell me one show on TV that has that right now.
If anybody in the chat can let me know, because I don't. The last one that I do remember was like the Cosby Show.
That's what I was going to say. Now, let's go back and think about shows that pictured that.
Right.
You had My Three Sons. You had Cosby Show. Even Family Ties. The dad there, he was pretty
Full
cool.
House was another good one.
Well, yeah, that's another story there. Yeah,
but that's just what I remember because I'm from that time period.
But it showed them in a good light, regardless of the characters, what or the actors themselves. But anyway, but Leave It to Beaver. You had all these shows portraying the man in a strong position, taking care of his family.
Right.
You don't see that now.
Family Matters, Tony says. That's a good one. I'm gonna have. I've never seen it, but I'm gonna have to check that out. No, you're right, Jimmy. I totally agree with you. And especially Disney, they always make the dad to seem stupid or ignorant or dumb, that he doesn't know what's going on.
This trend, I believe that this trend started with Married with Children.
Married with Children?
Yeah. Al Bundy. I forgot. You're 28. No, people in the chat, come on, okay. Al Bundy. You know, he was aloof. He was, he was the star. I believe he was the start of making fathers look like just horrible.
Okay, Beverly says, "Father knows best." I don't know if you know that.
That was back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, yeah. So you had good shows showing a good family unit. But what do we know about the deep state? We know, and even BLM admitted it on their own website, that they want to destroy the nuclear family. So then you match that with the programming on the television. It matches. It matches what they wanted to do. They want to destroy the nuclear family.
Yep. Jennifer M says Peg was betrayed as a bad housewife, and then Debbie Smith says Peg Bundy's husband. LOL.
Yeah. And the daughter was promiscuous, and the son was a little perv. You know, that show started this trend of downgrading the nuclear family, in my opinion. It could have been a couple of more before that, but that's the one that I remember being very strong. Look at Homer Simpson. Is he a goofus?
Yeah.
You know, Homer Simpson. Family Guy.
Yeah, really stupid shows. What about the one that I used to watch was like the Fresh Prince. That was one that was a nuclear family, but he was the father was always being disrespected, or like the kids would disobey him and stuff like that, and then he would get angry. You know, like his character was always like flipping out, which was funny. But that one was a pretty okay in my
it was pretty okay.
Borderline.
Yeah. But once you start, as you said before, and as the name of my show that I haven't done in a while, once you see the big picture and you start putting these pieces together, it matches up.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense. This is why I said in the chat earlier today, where I don't get so distracted with so many of these stories. Las Vegas, New Orleans, I don't get distracted by those because I know what those are meant to be doing. And it's meant to distract the public from talking about real shit.
Okay, so I mean, I did put the Las Vegas attack because there was a video that I wanted to show everybody about that. But now that you've mentioned it, that's a great segue. So we already agreed that it's probably a false flag or a distraction.
Oh, totally a false flag. Totally.
But there's some weird stuff surrounding it, like how the ID was the only thing that survived the fire. The bomb.
Okay, so where did they get that idea from?
It's happened way too many times. Why do they keep doing the same thing? That's my thing.
Okay, 9/11, you had the guy's passport survive Okay. So basically, when we say the Patriots are in control, I do believe that some of this stuff is it's sloppy. And the reason why it's sloppy and the reason why it doesn't make sense is because people are trying to wake you the up.
Right. Okay. So it's on purpose.
I believe so.
Okay. Do you even think that guy is alive? Because supposedly he was.
I don't honestly, Ruby, I've literally not given it any attention.
Okay. Because
Only because I mean I've seen a few things. I'm like, yeah, it's just another false flag. Because I've gotten to that point where it doesn't affect me anymore. It doesn't. The propaganda doesn't grab me like it used to.
I agree that it doesn't grab me, but I do. It kind of bothers me, the inconsistencies, like the manifesto, or the way the media is trying to portray it. Like now that I'm awake, it's like I'm identifying these things, and then when people, talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that too, and then that's why I wanted to show a video about it, because I was like, this doesn't sound right. Why would he rent a Cybertruck that's a electric vehicle that has to charge on your way over there? They're gonna track where you are. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And the more people look into that stuff, they're going to start questioning things.
Right. And that's what leads you into a new rabbit hole in real time to try to figure out what this guy was trying to say, because allegedly, supposedly, he's just using this as a means to get his message out. What's his message? What is he really trying to tell us?
Do you know what this guy's profession was in the military?
No, but I do know he was in the military.
Yeah, his profession, he built bombs for the military.
Okay, that makes sense.
So do you really think that a guy that has the capability and the know-how is going to put fireworks and propane tanks in a Cybertruck that everybody, and in the position that he would know because of his military experience, he would know that the Cybertruck, the outside of the body is going to control the explosion and shoot it straight up? Why did he pick a Cybertruck? Why didn't he pick a van like Timothy McVeigh did? The Oklahoma bombing.
Oh, I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Did I miss that one?
Yeah, that was in the 90s.
Okay, no wonder. Sorry.
Yeah, that was just another thing. So this guy knew how to fashion a bomb.
Right.
So he used propane tanks and fireworks. That doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's certain things that don't make sense, and why would he do that? He's a professional. Like you said, it's sloppy.
Yeah, and another narrative that this is building with both events is they're trying to say, oh, these were ex-military guys, and who else was also at Fort Bragg? It's funny that they're calling, even the media is calling it Fort Bragg now. They're not calling it Fort Liberty anymore, which it should be Fort Bragg. Yeah,
right.
I've noticed that too. I'm like, they're going back to calling it Fort Bragg, and which I lived 5 minutes from Fort Bragg. I lived in Fayetteville for many years. But anyway, but what they're doing, the other guy that was from there was Ryan Routh, the other Trump assassination guy.
That's the connection. Like, what is going on in Fort Bragg?
So you got three guys from the Fort Bragg, they have that connection to Fort Bragg. What this is doing is, because the deep state knows, and I've said this before, that there's going to be a time when the National Guard is called out to control some of these cities, mostly the Democratic ran cities. The National Guard will be called out because there's going to be something that happens that's going to cause that. So the media and the deep state is trying to get ahead of that story and trying to discredit people from the military. So in the people in the public mind, then, oh, military's bad. They're going to put us in martial law. They're going to do this, do that, do that. It's going to scare the people
to distrust them because they've been involved in these things.
Exactly.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
That's why I'm here.
I know. Thank you, man. That makes total sense. And that's why
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. That's a good one, right? Because I was thinking if the military people are doing this, and I was thinking in terms of like white hats, I was thinking, oh, maybe these are guys, the good guys that are trying to wake, like you say, wake us up, yada yada. I was thinking, well, if they have all of this experience, expertise, they've been in the military. I've always thought to myself, wouldn't that be the perfect person to lead the way, like to expose things? Like, why aren't those types of people stepping up and doing something about what we're seeing and exposing it? So I was thinking like it's about time a military guy does something, but that's you know.
Yeah,
Anyway, I was
what
thinking.
people don't realize, and again, I've been saying this for a while. I know I say that a lot, but it's
Mhm.
true. We are witnessing a military operation, a worldwide military operation, and it's the biggest sting in the history of humankind. The biggest
Yeah.
sting operation.
Beverly says Sean Ryan has a YouTube channel. He dives into the Vegas supposed attack. Do you know who that guy is, Jimmy? Sean Ryan?
I saw some people talking about it. I haven't watched it yet. Again, it's not grabbing my attention. I don't care.
Agreed. Because I saw it and I was like, I'm not gonna waste 45 minutes talking about this. Whereas I could watch like a 5-minute or 9-minute clip on the TikTok or whatever, because we already know what this is. I don't need 45 minutes to explain and
Like I said in the chat earlier, it's like we as Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, this is a good point. We as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses know 100% without a doubt that the governing body lies to its members. Correct?
Right, correct.
Why would you watch a video that shows another example of a governing body member lying?
Exactly. I wouldn't click on it. I'm not going to waste my time with that because I already know.
And that's how we have to do this propaganda stuff.
Exactly. I just want the facts. I don't want a 45-minute explanation of what these other ex-military guys are saying. And I was arguing with my husband about this because he was like, oh, did you see this interview? They supposedly emailed him, yada yada. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna waste 45 minutes with a host like Sean Ryan, who's also ex-military or CIA, something like that. They're like retired people of that level. I'm like, you don't think that they could be controlled? You don't think that they could be also a part of all of this? And they're presenting it to you as if, to orange hats who need a legit person on the TV screen or YouTube to confirm these facts that we could get in less than 5 minutes.
Yep.
Like, come on. And he's like, no, you're thinking about it the wrong way. And it became an argument because I'm like, bro, it's the same thing with Tucker Carlson. They have connections to the CIA. They have a media personality, and they're gonna say things. I don't trust nobody with those types
and
of
you shouldn't. It's like I have again, Tucker Carlson. I have some issues with him. Sean Hannity. I have huge issues with Sean Hannity. And somebody tried to pigeonhole me today on X because I was, debating them on the whole J6 thing. And I was telling them, oh, if you're still believing the media lies, you're still ignorant and brainwashed. And she's like, comes back and says, oh, well, maybe hear what Gronk says. Maybe you need something that Elon Musk has put out to help you. I said, I don't give a damn about a program that has to be fed information to work.
Yeah.
That's how the AI systems work. They gather all the different news articles and videos and that's on the mainstream media, and they put it all together and you come out with Gronk or whatever else is out there. It's a program. It's a machine.
Yep. Look at this tweet. This is what got me going. This tweet says, I'm so glad Andrew Tate, father worked for CIA. Tucker Carlson, father worked for CIA. Alex Jones, family worked in military intelligence, and Elon Musk, large military industrial contractor, are joining forces to save us from the deep state. This is so freaking epic. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, why do people play? And I have since changed my opinion about Elon Musk, because remember when I did that flat earth video, I was like, oh, I thought he was one of the good guys. I've learned my lesson since then, and now my opinion has changed. And this is exactly how I feel.
And again, I think the ones that we're seeing are not the real ones.
And then that's Jimmy.
I believe Elon. I mean, look at the pictures of Elon when he, look back in 20. He looks like a little goob. And all of a sudden, in some people's eyes, he's become a handsome guy. Yeah, of course, whatever. But Tucker Carlson, I believe, has been replaced. I believe Elon's been replaced. I've never really trusted Alex Jones at all. I'll listen to some of the stuff that he says, but I'll go back and verify it. But I think he's playing a part too. So this is one freaking awesome movie. You just don't know
exactly. And I would group in that list a guy like Sean Ryan, who's had all these connections, and supposedly he's retired, but he has this YouTube channel and he's bringing on all these people who are supposedly whistleblowing or like blowing the lid off of things, and they're trying to make it seem legit. And I'm like, I don't trust this guy. Sorry. I just don't trust him.
Once you wake up to the way the deep state operates and everything, you can see. I mean, when a story pops off, I'm just like, yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, within like 2 seconds, I'm like, I can sniff this stuff out. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I've been right a lot on stuff. Yeah. I've called a lot of stuff. And I know that people, and I wish I could still have my Facebook because I could go back and prove it.
Right. And they nuked it.
They nuked it, yeah. Some are saying now that, and Zuckerberg, yeah, he's gone too. Him coming out today saying, oh, we're going to get rid of the fact checkers and we're going to go to community. It's like X, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, get over your freaking self. No one cares.
Yeah.
I've had people sending me messages today. Hey, Jimmy, did you see what Mark Zuckerberg said? Maybe you'll be able to get back on Facebook. Yeah, I doubt it. They're not going to let me back on. I'd be shocked if they let me back on Facebook.
Yeah, because you should at least get your old account where everything is still there. But if they deleted everything and wiped it, then what good is there? Like all that work is gone that you've done already.
And so I just, like the one guy was saying, MJ Truth.
Mm-hmm.
I when it comes to the spirituality thing, this is why, again, for those that have religion in their heart, fine, be that's on you. But for me, religion is bullshit to me. I go on spirituality. I have a closer connection to God now than I've ever had in my life.
Right.
And every night before I go to bed, I practice mindfulness, meditation. I connect. That way it keeps me grounded so that when the world news comes out and some chaos has popped off, I can stay calm.
Right.
And I can be a voice of reason and help folks. That's what I've been tapped to do, because there's no other explanation why I do what I do other than trying to help people.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too with this show. Like
exactly.
This was something that I knew I had to do, didn't know why, but I was pushed to do this regardless of what people thought or like any people, discouragement saying, oh, politics is a little too much. I'm like, yeah, but it's fun. Like we can have a conversation.
And if you tried to stop, you can't.
Yeah.
You you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I even though I'm not doing my own videos and everything right now, I still have to do something to get my voice out there. Come on here. We don't have a huge thing. We don't have a huge crowd, every week like Rick Farron has. But one day, hopefully we will. Hopefully people will wake up and tune into this show, because we are giving you guys, and y'all can pass, we are giving you guys the best possible information that we can give you.
Right. Mixed in with comedy, mixed in with conspiracy, mixed in with speculation. It's like a mix of a lot of things, but at least it's getting you to think and to be,
that's the whole thing, is getting people to use their critical thinking skills.
Yup.
Because because the media, the movies, entertainment, our regular 9-to-5 jobs, all this stuff that is designed to keep you from using your critical thinking skills.
Yep. And this is why I like this guy on X. His name is
I like this guy.
Ian Carroll. Did you see this video he did?
I have.
You did?
Go ahead and play it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to play it for everybody else to kind of catch up.
The Cybertruck car bombing in Las Vegas has turned into the craziest reverse psyop story ever. And it's still developing, but I'm going to run through all of the evidence in all directions that I have found so far. So hopefully it's easy to kind of pick up where we're at right now and see what comes next. First thing, super iconic, not an accident. But the question is, not an accident, why? And who's actually behind it? Because the media is pinning everything on Matthew Allen Livelsberger because they found his passport and his ID and a bunch of stuff of his in the car. Though the car blew up, passports always survive. And he's an active duty Green Beret that's been stationed mostly out of Germany and Colorado. And the Green Beret community is digging into this deep and getting sources. And there's so much that's not adding up. And then yesterday, I think it was, the plot super duper thickened when the Sean Ryan show had this whole expose on this whistleblower scenario where he had Sam Shoemate on, who had apparently gotten an email from this Green Beret dude the day before the bombing. And the email is crazy spicy, but it's a little suspicious. If you haven't seen the Sean Ryan Show podcast episode yet, you should watch at least the first 30 to 45 minutes. Put it on 2 times speed. You should not believe everything that is said at face value. Remember, both these guys are military intelligence assets, former and current. This is the alleged email that Mr. Shoemate received. But notice that there are spell check red squigglies in here. And there's a cursor. And we've learned this before. This is not how an email appears when it is received in your inbox. This is how an email appears when you're typing it. But this is what the Sean Ryan Show put out as the email that was received, allegedly. And it alleges that the drones over the East Coast are Chinese tech and that they could bomb the White House at any minute. And it's like this whole, basically it alleges that World War III is about to happen between the US and China. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. And he's like trying to be a whistleblower to stop it. But if this email is real, it's like the perfect food for the military industrial complex and for World War III warmongering. But it gets weirder. So the Las Vegas officials and the FBI, who are totally trustworthy, have been assessing the scene. Hey, Gigi, don't do that. Stay over there. That's where they found the passport. They also found an incinerated Desert Eagle, which apparently he used to shoot himself in the head before the explosion. It was dropped on the floor right in between his feet in the driver's seat. And if you know anything about how powerful these guns are, you imagine shooting yourself in the head with it and then it dropping straight down instead of just flying into the not to mention that no one has reported any report from a gunshot in the car at the scene at the time. And that is the most powerful handgun you can buy. A whole conspiracy on this thread is Teslas can drive themselves. And I don't know if anyone's ever tested the self-driving because it'll watch you. And if you don't look upwards, it'll tell you to look or it'll stop the self-driving. So you can't just look down at your phone or close your eyes and go to sleep. But has anyone ever tried it with a dead body that has its eyes open? Because that is probably possible. It's unclear. Because allegedly the remains of the person found in the front seat, though charred, burnt beyond recognition, the DNA did not match the DNA of this guy's recent child. Apparently his wife just broke up with him and they were trying to paint that as he's angry. It's Green Berets get divorces all the time. Maybe the kid wasn't his kid. I think it's more likely that the body wasn't his body. Because again, in the email that was allegedly sent by him, theoretically, it's very clear that he's not planning to kill himself. He's planning to escape to Mexico and to do this whole thing in order to bring attention to this and to whistleblow and to be taken seriously and to get this out to as much news and publicity as possible and then escape to Mexico. He says it 2 different times in this email. The trunk was loaded up with all these crazy fireworks and there was some gas cans in the cab that caused the explosion to so a little unclear. But it seems like the explosion was intended to not cause a bunch of death, but just to cause a scene. He chose a Cybertruck, which is bulletproof, the worst car to build a car bomb in. and then he filled it with fireworks instead of like he's a Green Beret. He could have built a real high like power IED that could have blown the building up, theoretically. And then he says in the letter that he's trying to keep a low profile because he's being followed and they attempted to abduct him, but also that he's trying to keep a high profile because they know he has this IED, this car bomb rigged up. And so he got a Cybertruck, which is like, why would you get a Cybertruck? The police have had no trouble tracking the Cybertruck, both in Las Vegas on CCTV footage and on its supercharger route across the country. The police said that they have tracked the purchase of the firearm, specifically the Desert Eagle, back in Colorado. There's a 3-day wait on purchasing a firearm in Colorado, so we had to have initiated the purchase 3 days before leaving Colorado to come to Las Vegas for this event. But then in the email, he gives like as confirmation that he is who he says he is. First off, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. Well, people verified. People pulled his vehicle records, and actually he has never owned a 1996, was it? Ford Mustang, or a 2006 Ford Mustang, but his first car was a Ford Mustang, just totally different year. So it's not really like, could be that because it's 30 years ago, it's his own car 20 years ago and he just forgot the year. It could be like, why would you put the wrong verification in? Like, you'd think if it was someone else faking the letter, they would get the right verification because they wanted to get verified. You think if it was him, like maybe he misremembered it, maybe it's an intentional misverification. People are like, oh, maybe it was in his parents' name because everyone's first cars are in their parents' name. Well, people pulled his parents' car records too. Check out Landry 22 if you want to see those on X. But then the Las Vegas police, the officials, released like manifestos that they found on his phone, which was like charred to oblivion. But they found these manifestos that like, this one is basically like, yo, all military personnel go and take the Capitol right now. It's like really unhinged and retarded. And the other one, like, it's just like screenshot and read if you want. Like the other one is just so weird. Then they released like video from his Tesla Cybertruck at the supercharge station that they said was in Las Vegas, but the internet has sleuthed around and pretty much confirmed that actually that was not in Las Vegas. It was in Arizona because there's a Carl's Jr. Next to the supercharge station. They were looking for photos where there's a supercharge station and a Carl's Jr. and it's in Kingman, Arizona, which is that stop right there before getting to Las Vegas. Plus the Green Beret chatter on YouTube and X and everyone in the Green Beret and like special forces communities that are commenting on this saying it does not line up at all. Like, he did not have the expertise to understand this kind of stuff about drones. He did not have the clearance. He wasn't even like stationed in the places where they said he was stationed. It's all very sus. Not to mention that he was like a TV star with Tim Kennedy like 10 years ago on some like special forces like game show, TV show. Whole other funny rabbit hole. But a bunch of guys know this guy. Like, a bunch of people on the internet right now have done operations and missions with him or trained with him or been stationed with him. So there's a lot floating around. And I don't have any answers. I don't know what's going on. But one thing that we can all agree on is that if the evidence starts pointing towards a war with China or a war with Iran or a war with Russia, it's probably the deep state setting you up for that war. And if I had to guess right now, here's what I would guess was going on. The military-industrial complex is learning as we go, and they are wise to the way this world works. And seeing how X has debunked all their other bullshit this last year, I'd bet right now it looks like they decided, what if we need to start our psyops using the decentralized media space as our patsy, as our pipeline of information to deliver the information so that the internet thinks it's real. So the internet thinks it's coming from inside the house, right? And so they concoct a situation in which a known and trusted and verified internet sleuth, this dude on Instagram, who is like a military whistleblower, like hub. He's like the dude for military whistleblowers to go to. It makes sense that this guy would go to him. And so they concoct this email that goes out to him. They concoct the scenario whereby it looks like either they got this guy and he's on the payroll, like this Green Beret guy is like in the op, or they captured him and are using him as a patsy, as the fall guy for the op. And it looks like they're feeding the information out into sort of vetted social media decentralized channels so that we are the ones producing the PSYOP ourselves. And it's just the source information that is actually manipulated. Yep. That is what it looks like right now. And keep your eyes peeled. Stay frosty. Don't believe a single fucking thing you see. And if any of it points to war with Iran or China or Russia, even if it seems credible, it's fucking not. Doesn't matter. We're not going to war.
Yep.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
This is why I said, Ruby, in our
Mhm.
chat earlier, that we don't, we're going to talk about this stuff, but we don't want to give it too much time and attention because like he said, they're trying to use the internet and the digital soldiers to put this information out to create another psyop where that's why I don't give it that much information, that
And
much time.
that's how I felt about the Sean Ryan thing. It's like a 45-hour episode about this. You're propping it up. And when you can see a 9-minute video like this and you already know everything you need to know.
Yeah.
That's it. Whether he's dead or alive or whatever, even the whole manifesto, like he said, is weird, is retarded. Like they're giving out like a dog whistle, like, oh, go take the Capitol. Come on. This is what they want.
As another, exactly. Because if you look at the 16-year plan, have you watched the big picture episodes on those yet, Ruby? No, you haven't.
You ask me all the time and I say no, and I'm telling you the truth. I have not.
Because on the 16-year plan, it was on the second 8 years, they wanted to start World War III. That's been their goal the whole damn time. And just like that guy said, he said there's not going to be a World War III. What have I been saying? There's not going to be a Civil War and World War III. It's not going to happen.
Oh my goodness. I believe that now, because before, remember when I used to tell you guys, like, we used to talk about it and I was like, yeah, if there was one, I would be right there if I didn't have kids. Like I used to always like talk about that because I used to believe that, like, oh, it's gonna get bad, and
But again, the deep state, they're evil. They're not just going to surrender. They're going to keep pushing their agenda until they are forcibly stopped. So part of pushing that agenda is to create in the minds of the people that, oh, there's going to be World War III. There's going to be a civil war. And you know what I saw on the damn local news tonight while I was, my wife turned the TV on. She just turned it on. It automatically comes on to the local news station. And you know what I saw?
What you saw?
I saw a screenshot that had pictures of the masks and the wording said, "Stop the spread." I'm like, we are fucking doing this again, huh?
Oh, yes. The bird flu, right?
So, yeah.
Supposedly.
They have nothing left. We know what their playbook is.
Yeah.
We know what they're going to do. And if you know what the enemy is going to do, you create countermeasures. And that's what we've been watching this whole. Why didn't anything that the deep state? Oh, I'm getting wound up now. Why did the deep state's little plans on Russian collusion, the impeachment, the J6, the freaking CV, all of that? Why has every one of those things failed? Because countermeasures are in place.
Okay.
So that's why I say, for future references, if you see something huge like the Washington Monument getting blown up, or the White House getting blown up, or anything big like that, it's all part of the show. Hey, baby.
Okay.
Oh, my wife is the bathroom window is right over there, and I heard it go up, and she says, "I was like, what's up, baby?" She said, "I was just listening to what you were saying."
Oh yeah, like, man, this is amazing.
So yeah, this is this is why I just don't give a lot of credence to what the news puts out there right now, because I know it's all bullshit.
And like he said, that they are learning at the same time that they're putting it out. It's like they're learning to see what's gonna catch, what's not, and it's like they'll switch so it's like it's going as it is, like live.
Do you know why their little false flags and their psyops aren't as good as they used to be?
Tell me.
Because the heads have been taken out. The big folks,
Okay.
your Clintons, your George Soros, the British royal family, the royal British. A lot of the heads of the deep state have already been taken out. So
Yeah.
you've got amateurs running the show.
Oh, yo, I swear, yo, my husband said that word for word. He was like, the old deep state, they are either dead or retired or gone, because the new ones coming in, they're sloppy. Yeah,
Exactly.
like amateurs. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you have to come up with something better than that.
Yeah.
Like, the old deep state gave us 9/11. Okay. If you can't top that or get something like that, I'm sorry.
The old deep state gave us Waco. They gave us the Oklahoma bombing. They gave us the
Yup.
Y2K scare.
The Unabomber, the Manson thing. Like I was telling Tony, they were giving us a lot, and it was keeping us really entertained. Like all these serial killers and all these the
And
news really kept you.
think back about during that time, we didn't have the internet. So the
Uh-huh.
only system that we had for news was the mainstream media. And they knew
Exactly.
that. They knew that.
Right.
So they control the media, and that's why everybody got dumbed down over the years. That's why you go back to what MJ Truth said when he said, hey, half of the folks didn't know who George Soros was in 2017.
Me neither. Yeah.
Folks, we didn't know this stuff.
Exactly. Didn't
So
have a clue.
so the question is, why, since 2017, have we been inundated with light?
Right. Because Trump got elected in 2017. And it does make sense. Like you can't even deny it, because ever since he became president, and I remember where I was when he won the election, and like that time period of my life, I will never forget it, was because he became president. We were all shocked and like, what? Like Trump becoming president? And that's what made us wake up.
Have you actually watched his little inauguration speech on the Capitol in 2017 and seen the military behind him? Have you watched that?
I've seen clips of that, yes, because somebody said on that tweet, they said that has never been done before, having the whole
Exactly.
military behind him. And I was like, really? So now I'm gonna have to look at other inaugurations to see and compare it. But there stuff
You don't
like
even
that is
have
looking.
to. It's never happened. It's never.
No, I know, but I mean, like when Obama, like curiosity,
Yeah,
when
okay.
those elections happened, was there anybody behind him that was the way they was with Trump? And what does that even mean, though? What does that mean? If they
Oh,
were behind him or not?
did you listen to his words? What he said?
So he was saying something to the effect of giving it back to the people. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, he basically said this is not a transfer of power from one party to the next.
Right, that's what he said. Yep.
It's and right there. What does that mean? We're not transferring the party from the Democrats to the Republicans. That's what that means.
Right.
So we are not transferring power from one party to the next. We are transferring power to you, the people.
Right.
And who is supposed to protect the people's rights? The military.
Okay.
That's why the military was behind him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's a lot of us that say Trump has been commander in chief, but he wasn't the president of the corporation. And if you listen to Trump, sometimes he has said on the campaign trails, oh, maybe I'll be around for 12 years, 16 years.
Yeah. And we think he's joking, or,
Yeah, no, he's being serious.
I mean,
because if he was, so if he was only commander in chief and not president from 2017 to 2022, and technically, since we're still in a war, he's still commander in chief, but not president because the military is in control. After 2028, he could run for 2 terms under the Republic.
Okay, so I see where people get that from, like how you just
explained.
So that's
16 years. That's 16 years.
Right. Okay.
Now, will that happen? We don't know. But,
right.
But
okay.
it makes sense.
Right. Okay, that's what I was gonna say about the speech. When he said that, I didn't even realize that the military was behind him. But when he was kind of saying that, I kind of felt like it was inspirational. It was unifying. It was like, it kind of like felt like the people were finally being heard and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he gave us a voice. He gave us we weren't invisible anymore. That's how I took it.
And that's good. That's good.
Hmm.
But it had more meaning.
Right. Okay. So that's the other half that I'm missing, is because I didn't know that either back then or now. Like I'm learning that now.
Trump
Yeah.
Trump will tell you what Trump will lay out a lot of stuff in his talks.
Right.
His little pressers and everything. Listen to him, because
Right.
every time he talks, he's dropping some information.
Okay, so question. When Biden came out and he did that weird speech where the red lights were on and there was
Yeah, Dark
military
Brandon.
behind him. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he had military behind him then. What did that mean anything?
That was bullshit, Milt. That was CGI.
CGI? Stop it, Jimmy.
Yeah. I mean,
What
yeah.
you mean?
Yeah, that was that was all staged. That was not that wasn't even filmed at the White House.
Really?
Yeah, there's a stage. They had been filming this stuff on a stage for Dark Brandon. Think about when they were doing all the little jabby things, and you saw them come up on the stage, and that's where they've been filming this shit.
Right. And I remember seeing that picture of the stage when he was doing the vaccine stuff. It was like a setup,
Yeah,
a set.
yeah,
And he was sitting there, and that was the first time that I have ever seen that. I was like, what? It looked like like a studio.
yeah. Why is there a mock White House in Georgia?
That's what exactly. I was like, no way. And isn't that a little dangerous? Like dangerous meaning like a risk. I don't know how to explain it, but you don't think that that's like a risk or something?
You'd have to elaborate on what you're.
Like how do we know whether or not it is the real White House? Is that not like national security, or like it, or is that okay to have a detailed mock thing of the freaking White House?
It was owned by Tyler Perry, and they have to have their little movies and their TV shows with the White House and stuff. So I mean, it's legit. I mean,
okay, because I don't know, that made me feel weird. Like I wouldn't allow that. I don't know. It just it rubbed me the wrong way that it looks too similar, that we can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
exactly, and that's why the media uses it to dupe the people. You actually think something's being filmed from the White House? No, it's not.
Right.
It's not coming from the freaking White House.
Oh, so what do you think about the theory that was that Ian said on the video? He said that the guy was trying to expose that the drones were actually from China, and that there was gonna pop off a war like that. Do you think that that's legit?
No, I think that's bull.
Really?
I think that's bull crap, because so hold on. If this military guy knew that they were Chinese drones,
Mm-hmm.
do you not think our freaking military and government wouldn't know that?
They do, but they know everything and they don't say nothing. So,
I mean,
what if it is?
but like I said, you got two factions of your military. You got the deep state military, and you got the white hat military.
Right.
So the white hat military, if they knew that was a China and a legitimate threat, they would have taken them down.
Okay, so you still hold the belief like I do.
Hold on. Let's reverse it and say, okay, if it was China, that gives the deep state a great opportunity to shoot those things down, recover them, say it came from China, piss the American people off, and they want to go to war with China.
Right, which is why this guy did what he did, supposedly to whistleblow that.
But that was 3 weeks ago.
I get it.
Why is he doing it now? It's bullshit.
Exactly. Exactly. Where I still hold the opinion that that's our own stuff. It's the U.S. drones.
Yeah, I
still hold that belief. So I still don't understand the Las Vegas stuff, but I just wanted to show that clip to help people realize the things that Ian was saying, like the email,
and just always remember number one rule in being a digital soldier is if the media is pushing something, that's your lie. It's a
Right.
lie. If the media is pushing it, as of right now, because eventually things are going to switch over because you got to wake up the freaking orange hats.
Right.
But for most of these big things, if you got a story that's lasting 2, 3, 4 days in the news, you know that's a psyop, a false flag. It's bullcrap.
Right, but like we said about 9/11, they took advantage of the American emotion and spirit and patriotism to retaliate. So it's like, how do you know whether or not this is real domestic terrorism, or is it terrorism from another country that we have to respond to?
Our terrorism, you know where the terrorism is domestically? CIA and the FBI.
I agree with you. That's why I'm like, they should be abolished already.
Exactly. Or be completely cleaned out. Because I told my wife the other day, the FBI could actually play a good role in protecting America. It really could, if you have the right people running it.
Exactly. Right.
So I'm, if they want to abolish the FBI, okay, cool. I'm cool with it. If they don't abolish the FBI, clean it the hell out and have it doing what it's supposed to be doing, protecting our nation.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so my next thing that I wanted to show you, and I don't know if you already saw this, but you know how you always talk about, go ahead.
There was a comment that somebody put in the chat I saw just a little while ago that said, Jimmy, do you think the org is part of the NWO? Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
They are a propaganda arm of the New World Order.
Debbie Smith, do you think the org is part of the NWO? Yeah.
100%. That was a light bulb that went off in my head in about April of 2020 when I started learning what the deep state was and all this stuff. And I was like, holy crap, Watchtower's part of it.
But I do think they were infiltrated after Russell, though, because I do think it was a legit religious cult, like a new age movement. But I think that they took advantage of that group. They infiltrated, like we've talked about with different things.
Like they do with every group.
Right. Exactly. And then they took out the old heads, like you were saying earlier, and that's why that's their downfall. And these new amateurs who are trying to run a cult is just not working, and they're losing control because of it.
Exactly. See how everything falls together? And you pattern recognition.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to do that. Not you personally. I'm just saying in general for the audience. You got to learn what pattern recognition is.
Yes, Debbie. She says, thanks for the reply. And then she said, that's why they pushed the jab. And de Blasio said they did a good job. Yeah, it was the whole thing. The whole
100%.
thing was to trick us. And then people are making jokes now about this bird flu that's going around. And people are like, well, did you learn your lesson, or are you going to take 5 more shots? Let's see what happens.
So it trips me out, and I do understand why, but it does trip me out when there's some in the XJW community that still believe that was a real thing. And
it's unfortunate. Yeah.
It's very, it's actually sad, Ruby.
Yeah, it is.
And the reason why I say it's sad, and I don't, hey, I'm going Gen X tonight. I don't care. I don't give a night. Okay. It's sad because they're still freaking brainwashed and haven't taken the time to wash that mentality that Watchtower put in their head. It's simple. So all your Jakes, your Lloyd, all of them, I'll call out every freaking one of them. I don't give because they're still brainwashed, and they're trying to profit off of people that are still hurting from being in a cult. I said it. I'll stand by it. Bring it.
Yeah, I agree with you, because unfortunately they've replaced that cult with another one, and the left has turned into that. Unfortunately, it's no longer a party, in my opinion, because they go off the hinges every single time.
This is why that after this is said and done, the Democratic Party will cease to exist.
I hope you're right. I would celebrate.
It will cease to exist.
Jenny says,
and
I
how can
agree with you.
okay,
Oh, go ahead.
and how can I back that up? Well,
Mhm.
how many political parties have there been in the United States that have ceased to exist?
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what was that comment?
Jenny says she agrees with us about the org. I have just started studying the Bible, and yes, the truth will set us free. I am letting Scripture interpret Scripture, and I believe Russell was trying then. That's what I'm saying. What's that? What is that phrase that says that it starts with good intentions start something? I've heard when I get the phrase, I'll let you guys know one of these
Every good
Tuesdays.
intentions. Oh God, I know what phrase you're talking about too.
Yes,
Um,
it's that one.
yeah,
That goes with Jenny's. That would be my reply to Jenny because that phrase, I believe in it 100%. It starts with a good intention, but then it goes to crap, and those things start with good intentions. Basically, that's what the. Oh,
yeah.
Jenny says, "Road to hell is paved by good attention." It's something similar to that. I'm gonna find the phrase and then I'll let you guys know because it's very similar to that. But
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, it's like with 9/11, it brought the patriotism up in the country and everybody was unified on 9/12. But behind the scenes,
Right.
the deep state was taking our rights away.
Right from under, like right in front of your face. They changed the whole TSA.
They violated the Fourth Amendment. They violated the Fourth Amendment right there.
Oh, yeah.
And 98% of the country had no effing clue.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm done with that. I want to abolish all of that. Like, that should have been done as soon as we found out that there was no WMDs or anything. That should have been like, what's it called when you, what's it called when you take you reverse like an amendment? What's that word?
Not abolish.
Veto. They should have vetoed
veto,
those amendments.
Yeah. But they weren't going to do that because the deep state was in control.
Right, and they're never going to give it up, like you said, without force, and that's why we need that force.
Yeah. That's why when you lose your freedoms, they're not just given back to you.
Exactly.
You got to fight for them. So
how do we do that?
We're doing it right now. We're educating people. We're waking people up. So when it comes to the time for them to actually go and elect somebody for their local governor, they'll know how to vet a person. They'll know what to look for. They'll know what patterns to recognize in someone to see if they are for America or not for America.
Right. No, I agree with you. But in the meantime, there are already people in positions of power to put a bill forward to veto the other bill, and to revive our rights. Like, it's not that hard.
I think you're going to see a lot of that happen over the next 4 years.
I really do hope and pray that it does because
like I'm gonna tell you right now, if Trump doesn't come through and says what he says he's going to do, you're going to piss off the country.
Yeah.
You're going to piss off the country because Trump has a mandate. We, the people, have told him, get rid of the deep state.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we want.
Right. I guess we're gonna find out.
Oh yeah, this movie's gonna get even better, Ruby.
Man, I'm a little bit more optimistic, but at the same time, I'm very distrusting. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Have you ever seen me stressed out about this stuff?
No, and I don't know how you do it because I'm like, I don't. The same thing with the Greenland stuff. Like, when people are saying, "Oh, he's actually trying to push the NWO by, buying all this land or whatever expansion," and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. So I'm not gonna comment on something I don't know.
Yeah, it's and again, does Trump look stressed or worried at all? No. He looks like he's in full control of whatever he's doing, doesn't he?
Yes, he really does. Which kind of scares me. Like, it makes me does feel good, but it kind of scares me.
Now look at his demeanor and how he handles the press and what he says, how he says it, and compare that to Biden.
Right. No, agreed. Oh, what do you think about the judge that said he's gonna have sentencing on the 10th?
It's all bullshit.
Really?
It's gonna. There's not going to be any jail time. There's not going to be, and Trump can go to another court and appeal. And I honestly believe we can mark it down. I do believe that this will go to the Supreme Court.
Really? Okay. But is there a possibility that might happen?
There's always a possibility of something happening.
Okay, because I was thinking that if that really does happen, I mean, I would have never thought that this mugshot of him would even exist, and it happened. You know what I'm saying? So, if he would be the very first president to ever get, the president-elect to ever get sentenced to maybe like house arrest or jail or whatever.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's there's so much more to that story and and this guy's connections, and it's just exposing more of their corruption is all it's doing. So the further they take it, the more exposure is going to happen.
That's what I was trying to say, because what if that does happen and the whole like inauguration has to come to him, or like whatever happens, that we'll like we've never seen these things happen before. Brand new things are happening that we're like, what? Like what?
Yeah, it's like, why is Trump holding a rally? I can't wait for this rally on January 19th, because that's going to be very, very interesting to listen to.
Hi, conspiracy.
There's a lot of food feedback.
You got some feedback, Jesse. Oh, he's out.
Hey, we had to go. We had to go to Phoenix tonight, me and Gilbert, because it got down to 69 degrees in Yuma. It's freezing.
You poor baby.
Holy moly.
You poor baby. It's 23 degrees here. Shut up.
It's 42 here and I'm dying.
But the wind is coming. The wind is coming from LA. It's scary.
Nice, Jesse.
You out there? You out spending my $20?
Oh God. I'm not gonna live that one down. I gotta send you those 20, Lisa. Let me tell my wife, because she does everything for me.
Do you need my address?
Yes, Lisa. I owe Jimmy $20. We had a bet.
Well, he's talking to the wrong person.
And he beat the hell out of me. She wants.
Oh,
sorry, I lost you. I'm on Gilbert's phone.
Oh, okay.
It's just collecting interest right now. That's all. It's all good.
Oh shoot, it is interest. Sorry, Lisa. Well, I'm Mexican, so I usually pay a lot of interest. We're a little devalued.
Wow.
Hey, did you hear that we're going to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico?
Yes.
Oh, yes. How do you guys feel about that?
I love it.
Gilbert loves it. Gilbert loves it.
I mean, there's more of the United States borders the Gulf of Mexico than Mexico does.
Gilbert says that he wants Chihuahua State to be changed to New USA, because we already have a New Mexico. So Mexico should have a new USA state.
That's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this whole Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Greenland stuff. This is not new to me. I knew this stuff back in 2020, that this stuff would possibly happen. I just didn't know how it was going to play out. So it's very interesting. So when I heard this, I was like, holy crap, they're actually going through with something that I looked at back then.
Right.
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Gulf of America. How does that sound, guys? If anybody's still in the chat.
Gulf of America. That is so cool.
I love it.
Gilbert loves it.
Me too.
I mean, hell, if they're out there, if the left wants to go ahead and change names and meanings on stuff, we're going to do the same damn thing.
But you know what? The Gulf of America is kind of rough, because when I swam to America in 1968, it was just the Colorado River. Now you got to do the Gulf.
Yeah.
That's hard.
The Gulf of America sounds really strong. It just sounds strong.
Yeah.
So I like it.
It doesn't have a ring to it, huh? Gulf of Mexico sounds sexy. Sounds pretty cool. Hey, Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
But Gulf of America sounds too long. Too many syllables.
Maybe, but it does sound more powerful, like Gulf of America. Like, ain't nobody gonna mess with that Gulf.
Yeah. Hey, Trump is going to give every Democrat a heart attack because if you go to YouTube and read the comments, every Democrat is ready to have a heart attack. They think that Donald Trump is going to march on the Sudetenland from 1939. They think he's going to march on Poland. They're going crazy with their comments.
That's because they're freaked out.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are freaked out.
They're in panic mode. And and this is why the blue hats are here to help the green hats make sense of what's going on so we can help everybody else out as they learn this stuff.
Hey, Gilbert doesn't want to talk. He's depressed right now.
Why?
Because of the Gulf of America. It stole his idea. Says Trump is stealing all his good ideas.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
But why would Trump buy Greenland and talking about Canada becoming a part of America? Like, why even start that?
So
why would you climb Mount Everest? Because it's there.
For one, let's go to the political side of things.
Yeah.
Greenland has been ran by Denmark.
Yes.
Denmark run, and who does Denmark belong to? The EU. What is the
NATO?
And what are they? Deep state players.
Okay.
So you've had deep state players running Greenland.
And who's running Panama?
Panama.
China.
Yeah, well, yeah, China. And there's a lot of human trafficking that goes through the Panama Canal.
Okay.
So you cut down. Also, there's also a Q post that said other places are being prepared, and it was in connection to Gitmo. It said Gitmo Max. Other places be. What I say? Other places are being prepared. So there is a quote kind of like Gitmo military base in Greenland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, but you know what? It is so funny because it took out Trudeau.
Yo, I couldn't believe it. He resigned, and on all days J6. That just gave me the wrong.
And then that Ford guy from Ottawa. Who does he think he is? I mean, there's nobody on the planet crazier than Trump. Why would they try to rumble with Trump? I just don't understand it.
Because they ain't got nothing left. That's all it is. And like I said, same thing with Canada. Like the guy on the YouTube, the TikTok video was saying, Canada has been ran by the British Crown.
Yeah.
The British Crown no longer exists. They're gone.
And Keir Starmer wants to break ties with the United States. Is he crazy? Yeah.
So this is why they talked about liberating UK.
Right.
So the reason people are freaking out is because they haven't done the research to go deep into this stuff and know what the backstories are.
Correct. Hey, speaking of backstories, Jimmy, Lisa, I owe Jimmy $20 and some interest.
You got to send him your address because you'll never get paid.
I was a JW elder. We can't get shit done without our women.
You know what?
But I handled it all.
Yeah.
I think I have more fun just holding it over your head than actually having $20.
I never let the woman handle the congregation accounts.
Just kidding. We don't let women handle the accounts.
This is the longest I've ever had $20 last.
Yup.
I'm not betting.
And reused too.
Even Gilbert reminds me of the $20.
Yeah.
We're over there fighting, and he goes, "Hey, have you paid Jimmy yet?" Deadbeat.
Yup.
Yeah. This has been the most profitable $20 I've ever made.
I need to find the first stream that you guys did the bet on. We need
It was
to
on
find
Bobby
that
Kennedy.
stream.
It was on Bobby Kennedy. He called it way before.
Okay, so I'm gonna look it up and see if I find it.
And you see, there was no. You know what? I believe everything, but Kennedy was a strong Democrat. Is a strong Democrat.
Yep.
And there was no way. And Jimmy said, "Yes, way before everybody." I didn't believe him, and I effed around and found out Oh no. Hey, I'll talk to you guys later. I gotta get going. It's
Oh,
freezing out
thanks,
here.
Jesse, for
Bye, Jesse.
coming. Bye.
Right.
Bye. Oh, that's so nice.
Hey man, you're using up my airtime. I'll have to charge you for that. Oh man, $20. You know I'm on the Walmart plan.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, turn it off. Oh shit. I'm live? Damn,
Yes, you're live. You're still on the stage. He's hilarious. He's
My
too
God.
much.
That's funny. So
Jay. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, what do we have in the comments?
Yeah, I was just about to go to the comments. They were laughing about some stuff. Beverly said good night. And the phrase that Beverly said was the road to hell was paved with good intentions. And I think that is the one. That's the phrase. John Marciano says Trump needs to retake California first.
It's happening.
And then JG says, Jimmy, I heard a speculation on how Donald Trump could serve a third term as president by running his son for president and he as vice president. Junior would step down, allowing Donald Trump to assume the presidency.
Yeah, that's completely constitutional.
No way.
Because in the Constitution it says a person cannot be elected to president for 2 terms, but up to 2 terms. Elected,
right,
being the key word. So
right. That's why
they can't be elected, but they could assume the office if they were vice president.
Right. Okay. So that is one loophole. Because I mean, the other loophole was when they installed President Ford was his name.
Yeah.
And then my theory is that President Johnson, he got his presidency because he took out JFK.
Correct.
So that was one loophole. As unfortunate as it is. But even weirder, President Ford wasn't elected, and he wasn't vice, right? Like he became president really weird. I think he was third in line, wasn't he?
I'd have to double check, but I thought he was vice president.
Okay, we're gonna have to.
I thought, but I could be wrong.
Okay, because that's the one that was always that one weirded me out. I said, how did this
just do a quick search? Was Gerald Ford vice president?
Okay, let's see. President Ford. Hold on, I gotta move my mic.
I can't remember. I want to think he was, but
okay, hold on. President Ford. Let's see. Became okay. Let's see how the internet tells me. Okay. So Wikipedia says that in 1973, 2 months after Spiro Agnew's resignation, Ford became the first person appointed to the vice presidency under the terms of the 25th Amendment.
Oh.
And then the subsequent resignation of Nixon, he assumed the presidency.
So he was never elected for anything.
And that weirded me out so much when I was homeschooling and I was trying to teach the kids about like the way people become president, and that one really got me. Yeah,
I forgot about the whole Spiro Agnew thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always did remember that they said that Gerald Ford was the first president never to ever to assume office and was never elected for anything.
Exactly. And I'm like, how did he do that? Was he vice?
And see, I honestly think the deep state had that plan to do it with Kamala and them, but I think that got shut down by the White Hats.
Okay. So you see how these little weird things in history are? It makes me like not a good feeling. It's just not a good feeling.
This is why history is so important.
Right.
Not to accept at face value, but also to learn some stuff. Because and especially it really shows the patterns of the deep state and what they do. They've been pulling from the same playbook all these years.
Exactly. So before Jesse came on and before we went to the comments, I was going to tell you, remember how you always talking to me and to the audience about 1871, about the Constitution being changed and stuff like that? So I found this short little documentary that explains it in full. And I haven't watched it in its entirety, but I want to know if you have seen it before we can possibly play it for everybody.
Okay. How long is it?
It's 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Okay.
And
So, well, okay. All right. That's cool.
okay, I don't know if you've seen this.
I don't
but it's
know. Once it
it's a
starts
good
playing,
one.
I'll know or not.
The year was 1871, and while the events of this year have been purposefully hidden from the masses, 1871 must never be forgotten. Much like
Yep.
Vatican City and the City of London, Washington, D.C. has its own sovereignty. Basically, D.C., City of London, and Vatican City are totally separate territories from the nations in which they reside. Vatican City is technically enclaved within Rome, outfitted with its own special police force and political structure. The same way the City of London is situated within the city called London, and it has its own flag, crest, police force, ceremonial armed forces, and a mayor. And sure, there are states within the United States that have their own constitution and distinctive flags, but I think most people you'd ask would know that Washington, D.C. isn't a state. Most folks would tell you that Washington, D.C. is where our laws are made, where our politicians congregate, and where our White House resides. But on the D.C. flag, which is said to have been reflective of George Washington's coat of arms, there are 3 stars. And I wonder, are those stars representative of the 3 city-states that exist as corporate entities outside of their respective nations? Vatican City, the religious hub, the City of London, the banking central, and Washington, D.C., the military leg of the empire. Being its own city-state, D.C. has its own police force that shares a direct link with Congress, its own mayor, and its own set of laws. But our founding fathers certainly didn't set it up like this, so how did it come to be? The year was 1871. The U.S. was going through a lot of turmoil. The nation was bankrupt and vulnerable after the Civil War, and the London bankers, which included the notorious Rothschild family, were ready to make a deal with Congress to remedy that turmoil. Turmoil, I might add, that is suspected that the bankers had a hand in creating in the first place. At any rate, these bankers made a lot of credit available in the aftermath of the Civil War as a means to 1. Fight Lincoln's greenback after he was murdered, with some theorizing that part of the motivation for his assassination came from his push to privatize the monetary system. And the second reason that the bankers made so much credit available was to collect on the interest from those who desperately needed the money, which would be the United States government at the time. Now, this was nothing new. This was a practice as old as time. Well, as old as Mystery Babylon. Not much has really changed since the days of Babylon. Not the usury, not the debt slavery, not even the iconography. Passed by Congress, the Act of 1871 provided a government for the 10-mile parcel of land known as the District of Columbia, allowing Washington, D.C. to act as a corporation outside of the original Constitution of the United States. So, okay, why does the Washington, D.C. Constitution have nothing to do with the United States Constitution? Why exactly is Washington, D.C. totally separate from the rest of the United States? Why does it need to be separate from the United States as a separate territory at the epicenter of the Virgin Mary, tucked right between Virginia and Maryland? The Act of 1871 changed our country's founding fathers' original constitution for the United States for America to the Constitution of the United States of America. If you blink, you might miss it because it's a mixture of impactful wording and some weird capitalization thrown in there that pretty much means nothing to the average person upon initial inspection. But these subtle changes are a huge deal in the realm of legislation. Compounded with these minor changes was clever marketing of the act as a way to unify the territorial government for the entire District of Columbia. The aforementioned are contributing factors as to how such a major act flew under the radar, ultimately overturning the United States constitutional republic. Since 1871, the federal government has usurped nearly all of the power that was formerly held in the hands of the people. But how on earth was Congress able to pass a separate constitution and incorporate the United States? A bunch of attorneys have contacted me about the subject, explaining it to me. Thank you for everyone who's done that. But let me break it down to you in a way that won't make you just totally fall asleep. A corporation, by definition, is a legal entity separate from its owners. A corporation protects its owners from personal liability for corporate debts and obligations within limits. So was the Act of 1871 as harmless as some claim, just an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia and nothing more? We can answer that question by simply stepping back and taking a look at the dominoes that fell after this act was passed, and asking the question, who benefited from this piece of legislation? Is the Act of 1871 the reason why Congress passed the 16th Amendment, which allowed the federal government to tax individual personal income regardless of state population? Is the Act of 1871 the reason why the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 was passed, handing over America's gold and silver reserves and ultimately the total control of America's economy to the Federal Reserve Bank? Think about it. A private corporation established their private bank, acting as the central bank of the United States, but it isn't even a government institution, but a privately owned banking system. Is it a coincidence that Social Security numbers started being assigned in 1935, Social Security numbers being the 9-digit numbers given to every U.S. citizen, and used for income tracking and taxation purposes? Ultimately, individual income taxes have been the primary source of revenue for the U.S. federal government since the 1950s. These moves make a lot of sense when examined through the lens of the United States as a corporation and its citizens as employees, a corporate government asset before they even go through puberty. But still, throughout all this time, there was a promise that the American dollar was actually worth something tangible, not just the confidence to exchange it for goods and services. A dollar was worth 1/35 an ounce of gold. But then President Richard Nixon came along and screwed that up for us, severing the final link between the dollar and gold in 1971. In other words, he took the dollar off the gold standard once and for all. Steadily, the purchasing power of the dollar has declined while federal and consumer debt has increased. Currently, we're witnessing the culmination of all of these decisions, and it ain't pretty. We're one bad flu season removed from Weimar Republic wheelbarrow money. So who would you say benefited from the Act of 1871? The average U.S. citizen, or the bankers who incorporated the United States, who have been buying politicians ever since? The same Federal Reserve who serves absolutely no real function except stealing the purchasing power of your 60-plus hour work week and then redistributing those funds to destroy your rights and enslave you on your own soil. Hey, just like they did back in Babylon. It's the same folks using
That's
the same
crazy.
debt slavery system, time after time. When will we learn that debt with interest is a system of perpetual debt and is continually passed on to the people beneath until the debt gap consumes all but those who own the debt? Well, like I said in the beginning of this video, the most pivotal year in United States history was never taught to me in school, public or private, and never taught to me at a college level. But as Americans, it's so important that we not let this information die with our generation. One of the most important lessons you can teach your children is how to obtain their own freedom, how to identify when their freedoms are being taken from them, and how to demand those personal freedoms and liberties back, instead of waiting around for a hero in the form of a politician to represent them, to offer solutions. During this time, we've seen people of all ages crying out for change. And instead of focusing on the changes we could make that could fundamentally change the United States for the better, especially on an individual level, politicians are selling socialism and communism, aka more government control, to young people looking for an answer. And they beg for it because the future seems so bleak. Whether you play with paper or with digital money, the future will always be bleak if you're a debt slave. If before your foot even touches this earth, you're scanned into the system as an employee of this corporation who does not care about you one bit. The United States is still a great country, but it has its problems, and you can riot and loot and protest all you want. But until the Federal Reserve is ended, until the Act of 1871 is torn into 1,000 pieces and thrown into the wind, until the IRS is abolished, and until we move back to the gold standard, we have no chance at experiencing any iota of freedom.
Yup.
100%.
And I can't believe I found that on X because I was like, this is what I was telling you so long ago. I was like, what? Where did you get that from? And I was like, I need to see it in video form. I'm just a visual learner. And this was like a blessing. I was like, oh man, like it punched me right in my head.
Now I know what Jimmy was talking about.
Exactly. And exactly what she was saying is exactly what I say. Oh, we need to abolish this. We need to abolish that. And I say the same thing about the Federal Reserve, the IRS. Did you see that clip that somebody was testifying in front of a board or something that was saying that the IRS is voluntary?
Yeah, income taxes are voluntary.
Income taxes are you knew that?
Yeah.
I didn't. Now I sound like Tony. You knew that? I didn't know that. That is voluntary, and that the IRS is like the police for them to enforce the income taxes.
Yeah, and the reason why is because the people that voluntarily pay their taxes, there's got to be a police force to hold the ones that aren't doing it hold them accountable. So the ones that are the taxpayers, like, makes them feel better that they're paying the taxes because now these tax cheats are being caught and everything.
Right.
It's a system of control that they use. Income taxes are voluntary.
Wow. We're going to have to continue this conversation next Tuesday because I got to end the stream right now. But wow, Jimmy, this was crazy. This was a good one. I know we say this a lot, but this one was a good one. This stream was awesome.
I think as we move forward, there's going to be more eye-opening moments. And we're basically trying to help folks. We're teaching history that you didn't learn in school.
Right.
You didn't learn in college.
Right.
You want social studies and history? Come watch this channel.
Yeah, man. Oh, San Diego says, darn, and I just got here. Sorry, San Diego. You're going to have to watch it back, but I got to go because I'm going to the store right now. But thank you, Jimmy, so much for hopping on. Thanks to Jesse. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
I'm a gun throwing patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun throwing patriot, God-fearing patriot. Pricing why they mad, cause I'm really Navy faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Okay.
All red MAGA flags waving through the South like we just want 4 more years. Democrats can't get right. Trumping with that Yeezy flow. Don't go broke on Sleepy Joe. Make America great.